I was testing. I was just trying to find out which of you can read lips. So we'll try this again. Welcome, everyone. Where's everyone watching? Hello to MG, Nate, Keith. And then if I said your name, I mouthed it. I read through a lot of the other names, but you couldn't hear me because I had my microphone muted. Welcome. Master Audio. I am a Korean teaching expert. At least I'd like to think so on most basic topics, sure. I'm not an audio expert. I'm not an expert on a lot of things, you'll find out. But at least when it comes to Korean, I can tell you a few things about the language. But yeah, don't learn how to push the mute button on your microphone from me. Big Like the Noise says, stationed in Germany right now, trying to learn Korean to talk to my wife's family. Nice. Massachusetts, Joe Turner. Jody, I see you added in that name. Do you prefer Jody? Or does it not matter? Let's see here. I will not be sleeping because of the class. I'm sorry. Dallas, Texas. That's right. 안녕하세요, 빌리쌤. 인도에서 보고 있습니다. Welcome. Before we get started, I always start these live streams early just so we can kind of hang out, ask questions, talk about things unrelated to the really long lesson we have for today. This is both of these pages are full, and this is just the outline. This doesn't include the extra worksheet, which you really need to get today. This topic we're doing today there are so many postpositions to learn. And I'm not doing every single postposition in Korean. I'm doing the most common ones that you need to know. And the ones beyond that actually all work in the same way for the most part. There's a couple I'm purposely not putting in this lesson because they would become lessons by themselves. But all of the major postpositions are in this lesson today. But because each one, there's like, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like we've got a lot of postpositions. It doesn't give me enough time to go through a sentence, like more than one sentence for each one. Whereas in reality, you want to do several sentences with each postposition so that you know how it's used and so you can feel comfortable with it. But if we do that, the lesson would go on like 3 hours long. So get the worksheet today. I highly recommend getting the worksheet for today's lesson. You can get it on my Patreon page. Pick it up there for just $1. In fact, if you pay $1, you get access to all of the worksheets since the beginning of time. 2018 was when I first started doing these live streams. And it's also coincidentally the beginning of time. So you get every live stream ever made. I mean, you might have heard there are other live streams on YouTube or other platforms, decades ago. But no, it's actually, they did not exist. Before 2018, there was no such thing as, I coined the word live stream. So you get all of the worksheets and you get all these outlines while you're there. But yeah, make sure to get the worksheet for today because I think it's really important because you need a lot of extra practice for this. Unless you already know all the postpositions, you're just here to hang out, in which case you're fine without it. But yeah, if you're actually learning about postpositions or you're getting comfortable with them still, definitely get the worksheet. It's got like 8 additional sample sentences that I had to cut from this lesson, but you can get them for that. Yeah. Let's see who else is here. Massachusetts, Texas, another Dallas, Texas, Portugal. To Patreon I go. Yeah, it's $1. This is really hard for me, but I was considering raising the price of Patreon. I couldn't do it yet. I couldn't do it. I don't know if I will, but I haven't been able to. Just because it's so cheap. But I really just make it like that because I want there to be no reason why someone can't have access to good quality Korean materials, even if you're not working or if you're younger. So yeah, it's just $1. Like I said, $1 gets you access to every single worksheet, every single outline from every single live stream I've ever done since 2018. The very early ones don't have worksheets. That was before I started doing them. But after the first few, there are worksheets for that. And yeah, you can get every single one for just $1. Let's Let's see what else. So that's just one benefit for Patreon members. Yes, I started. That's right. I started the word live stream. You should update a dictionary and, you know, put my name there next to the word live stream. I'm also watching from Seoul. Nice. Nice. I'll have to get back there. I already bought my ticket for next year to go to Korea in May. But I'm probably not going to be going before then, just because I'm trying to do some other new projects actually right now. And if I were to do another Korea trip, I wouldn't be able to do those projects. So we'll see. I'm not definitely sure I won't be going before then, but I will definitely be going at least in May. So if anyone else is going to be in Korea sometime next year, I'd say in June, I might do another meetup then. So it might be possible to hang out in Korea for a few hours. I did one last year and the year before and the year before. I've done several of them now. I think I've done 4 now. But yeah, I would like to do another one probably next June, just so you know. Yeah, it's cool that I coined the term. I mean, I've coined a lot of things. Patreon didn't exist before I started my Patreon page. That's another cool little fact you probably didn't know. I noticed there's so many female Korean teachers, but not a lot of male Korean teachers. Any reason? I think it's just as a profession, there might be more female teachers in general than male teachers. In Korea anyway. It's not limited to Korean specifically. But yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. But I have noticed the same thing, especially on YouTube. It's like, I don't know the actual percentage. I'm just making up a number, but it feels like it's 9 female teachers to 1 male teacher. But even more than that, though, it's like 1,000 Koreans to 1 non-Korean teacher. There are a few other non-Korean teachers I found on YouTube here and there. Not very many active ones, however, as of last week when I was doing another a check through all of the YouTubers I subscribe to. Not that many that are active, but there are a few. Yeah. It's just a thing. I don't know. What do you think's the reason? Why are most Korean teachers female and why aren't there very many male Korean teachers? I don't know. They're missing out. There are a lot of cool Korean teachers, like males and females. I do follow pretty much everyone. If you teach Korean on YouTube and you're wondering, does Billy know about me? There's a really good chance I actually subscribe to you. I probably watched a few of your videos. Yeah, I checked through my subscriptions just actually last week to see all the Korean teachers I've subscribed to. And a few of them, I clicked on every single one. A few of them were like deleted. They, did other things. Majority are no longer active. People will start a YouTube channel just for fun, or they think, maybe I'll be a YouTuber, and they realize it doesn't really pay very much money. And then they stop doing it, or they get busy with life. They do other things. But yeah, there are a lot of Korean channels these days, especially compared to what it was before. There used to only be like a handful of teachers, a handful of YouTube channels, period, that had any Korean lessons, not even Korean teaching channels, but just channels that had any sort of lesson that had anything to do with Korean. There were only a handful of back when I first started, which isn't really that long ago, but it was 2012. YouTube had already been around for like 7 years, but there still weren't that many channels that would even make content related to learning Korean at all. But now there are probably close to 1,000 that are like only Korean that are also like mostly active. We met in the park with my daughter. Oh, nice, nice. I have a question. Is there a voucher to get the high five if I ever meet you? If I commit, that was when I was filming, if I remember. Is there a voucher to get the high five if I ever meet you if I commit to the 25 monthly donation? I will say this: you do not need to pay me for a high five if you come to my fan meetup next year in Korea, which will probably be sometime in June. Though my high fives are free, my autographs are free. Yeah, that's a completely free event that I've done every single year. But I mean, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't decrease your chances, I'll say that. But if you do join the Patreon page, there are different tiers that get you access to different things, which I also might change up a little bit because some of them I don't upload enough content for those tiers. I upload everything for the $1 tier, and if you're a $25 tier, you get access to all of my videos early. So you get to watch next week's video tomorrow, actually. And you've already seen this coming week's video. But if you are a $5 tier member, you also get my personal vocab deck, which I update like once a year with all these new words, and I clean it up and everything. If you're in the $10 tier, you also get that, plus you get my Learn Korean episode PDFs in advance, which I'm just finished editing some new ones. So I'll put up the first one, I think, sometime in a week or so. And then you'll get another one after that. But yeah, I'm still working on organizing things, but you do get more if you're able to support more, but it's not a requirement just to get the worksheets. These are all just $1. Please make that 2026 and not 2020. How about this? How about I do both 2025 and 2026? Does that sound good? I do a meetup in 2025 in June, and then I do another one in 2026 in June. I think I can do that. But only because you asked nicely, I think I can do that. I feel like a non-native teacher can bring a lot of advantages when explaining grammar. I do too. I think that there are many disadvantages to not being a native speaker when it comes to teaching a language, and I've experienced those all the time teaching. But I think there are also a lot of advantages that people look over, and it's just a fact of life that people will look for people to learn Korean from. They'll see my face and instantly they'll go, oh no. Like, I mean, and because they don't know who I am, they legitimately just think I'm some white dude who's trying to teach Korean, who's like Korea boo or something. They don't know me. They don't know nothing about me. They don't know I actually don't listen to K-pop or watch Korean dramas or anything like that, but I get it. But there are some legitimately good takes that you can get from a non-native person, because you're not really learning just from someone who's studied how to teach their language, but you've learned someone who's gone the exact same route you're taking. So it's different. Not that necessarily one is the better of the two options. You'll get some good information from both, but it's different information you're going to get. But yeah, it's just a thing. Just so make sure I always say, like, get a good variety of Korean learning resources. And I've made videos before, like recommending other YouTube channels, other resources I like, and that's totally fine. Make sure you're using a variety. Don't just only use one person's Korean learning resources, or it's not really going to hurt you, but like you could get a lot of benefit from using a good variety of sources. No Korean dramas. Yeah, I mean, not zero Korean dramas. I have seen some Korean dramas before, but it's extremely limited. I can count on 2 fingers the number of Korean dramas I've watched and enjoyed. And then I can count on just both hands how many Korean drama shows I've seen. Very few that I've actually watched like the whole series. It's just not my thing. I get it if you like it, but it's not really for me. I did find Squid Game though amusing. I didn't love it. I'm not like a huge fan, but I thought it was fun and watchable. That was the most recent Korean drama that I've seen that I enjoyed. And I've tried to watch a couple after that. I just couldn't really get into it. And I did actually complete one of them. I completed watching, I even forgot the title of it. Was it just called Chiyo? I think it was just called Chiyo. It was like, it became popular like right after Squid Game, when everyone's looking for another Korean drama. I didn't really enjoy it that much, and I thought the ending was terrible. I tried getting into Kingdom. I know a lot of people love Kingdom. I absolutely didn't like the ending, so I never went to season 2 or anything, or I guess they had a season 3. But I did watch the first season. No ballet studio. Yeah, no ballet studio. Oh yeah, so thanks to many of your donations, I actually have a fun thing I'd like to present today. So you're all familiar with these Expo markers. Well, I think my friendship is now ended with Expo, because I've over the years, I bought several new boxes of Expo. Sorry, there's like something in my eye. That's why I kept rubbing my eye. I bought several boxes of these, but this most recent box and the last box I bought, both of them, half of the markers in them were dry out of the box, like brand new. They had only been sitting in my closet for about a year. It's not like they were 10 years expired or anything, but I would open them, they'd be dry instantly. So I'm deciding I'm going to try a different brand. So if you're wondering why I'm not using a green screen today, it's because I want to try out some other colors that I normally couldn't use when I have my green screen, such as, oh, what's this? Green. We've got orange, we've got pink, a light blue and a dark blue. What's going on? And yeah, red. Maybe we'll write some people's names in red. And then of course a couple more blacks, and then regular dark blues that I'm using regularly. But I thought, yeah, let's try out some new colors. So I'm gonna open these up if I can. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh. Which color should we use? I think we should use green just because I haven't been able to use green, right? Ever. So it'll be my first time ever using green. Let's see, you can't really see it that well. I think if I write bigger, it's not that contrasty. Let me see if it erases okay. Yeah, it erases okay. All right, we're gonna try green a little bit for today. Anyway, I'm happy to have some new colors. So yeah, thanks for your donations. That was supported by you. Many of you donated to a pen fund, and it's not just that one pack, which was I think about $16-ish. But no, it's going to be going forward. I'm also going to be trying out different brands, different colors of dry erase markers just to shake things up. Harune says, what's the difference between mori and koge? Well, that's a good question. I can answer that pretty quick. Let's see how this pen works. So if it doesn't work really good, I can try the other colors. It is a little thinner than the others, but I think that's because the other one's like frayed really quick, and this one's a little bit more stuck together. Mori is your head. It just means head. Although you can also use mori as short form for hair. Which is short for morikarak. I notice I have to write bigger though so that you can see it. So that's a downside of the green color. It's not as vivid, so I have to write a little bit bigger. Anyway, mori can mean both head, just like your whole head, or it can also mean your hair, in which case it's short for morikarak. It can also be used idiomatically, like the head of something, like someone something in charge of something, although it's not used that too much. And it's used in a lot of idiomatic expressions that have to do with your head. Koge is specifically like when you're turning your head, like your neck. It doesn't mean neck, but it's used for expressions like shaking your head, nodding your head, putting your head in something, like things you do with your head. It's more of like this sort of part of your head. And if that makes any sense, let me see if there's actually a definition in Naver. Yeah, it is. Okay, I was totally guessing on what I feel from what I've heard. But yeah, Naver lists the same thing. So it's this back part of your neck, this back part of your head. Now, it's not the nape of your neck. That's a different word. 목덜미 is the nape of your neck. It's not that, but it's this whole area. So it does mean head, but it's only used for idioms or not just idioms, but verbs that involve moving your head or doing something with your head. So you're not going to say like shake your head with mori. You're going to use 고개 젓다. You can like 고개 젓다. There are a lot of things like that, or like 끄덕이다, like nodding your head and stuff. So yeah, 고개 is not head. So never say anything about like head with 고개. It's only for like movement of your head. 머리 부분. Yeah. And another definition also lists it's the head part, but including like the whole neck. It's like this whole stump thing. And maybe a stump is a good comparison for 고개. Okay, I'll try to write really big, but if we're not getting great results out of the green, I'll switch to another color. At least though it's fun to have options. Yeah, 고개 들어. Like lift your head, because you're doing this. You're not 머리 들어. You're not like lifting just the head part. It's the whole stump that you're lifting. Let's see. Good to know for migraine sufferers, I guess. Yeah, migraine in Korean. Well, actually, there are a couple words for it. 두통 is one. Though, literally, 두통 is just 한자 for 두 meaning head and 통 meaning like pain. So there are a lot of words like that that end with 통. And it would translate normally as headache, but this is kind of what you say when you would be like talking about like a migraine. Anyway, we won't go too much into head idioms though. I'll start the lesson in just a minute. Note to marker sponsors. Yeah, this is their chance. If Bic wants, or Beak, I don't know how to say it. If Bic wants to sponsor me, I mean, I'm pretty happy that it works right out of the box. I'll say that. I wish that it was a little bit thicker so that I wouldn't have to write so large to make it visible on the screen, but that's also just a result. That's just because of the shape of the tip. So I can't really complain about that. It's correct. It's doing what it's supposed to. Cha and u. Those are in Hanja words only. So you're asking about when would you use cha? Like, it's only in Hanja words or Hanja idioms, typically Hanja words that you're going to use those. If you see cha something or like u something, then it means left something or right something. Like maybe a really common word is 해전. Oops. 해전 is turning, like you're in a car and you're turning. And they use the expression 좌회전 to turn left and 우회전 to turn right. If you ever forget which one's which, because when I was a beginner, I learned these and I kept forgetting which is left and which is right. I always remember Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey would say something like, ooh, right. I don't know if he says that, but he does in my head. So he said, ooh, right. And then you can remember that ooh means right. And then the other one is left. Although this isn't the only ooh, there are other ooh that don't mean right and other ta that don't mean left. So don't think that these always mean right and left. It could be a different hanja with the same sound. Okay, let's get started. Oh, I got a donation. Kai. These purple ones, though, are not Expo, and these are great. Volcanics is the brand. These are fantastic. I can just keep using one forever. The only reason I switched this one for the other one, the last one I had, was because the tip got a little bit frayed, but this brand works really good. This one, I think this pen itself is probably like 3 years old or something. Kai, thank you so much. When it gets too frayed out, then I'll throw it away, and I have like 8 left in the box of the box of 10 that I bought. Kai, let me give you some dabs for your donation. 1 second. Let's see here. Get some stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just want to reiterate that your donations go directly toward supplies for this live stream. So last time we got actually it was 2 streams ago, we got donations for pens, and that's where this came from, as well as the next pens that I order. Those will come from there as well. So I have pens for quite a while now. Thank you again for the top of the hour donation. 두통 must come from tu. No, it's not that hanja for tu. It's 머리투, meaning head. Specifically the well, you just have to find out a Naver, because I wouldn't be able to write it up before we're supposed to start the class. But yeah, it's not that one. Purple is my favorite color. A lot of people like purple. I like purple too. I could do the lesson in purple, and then I could write donations in a different color. That's a possibility too. Anyway, okay. So we have a lot of stuff to discuss in this lesson because this is a very big topic. We're going to be learning about 2 things first. I like that sound. Let me know if you can't see it too clearly. I can see it clearly, but if it's too dim, I can switch for a different color. Preposition and postposition. These are actually very similar. The difference is pre versus post. if anyone knows some Latin, like I do, actually, I don't know a single word of Latin. I know that pre means before and post means after. So pre means before and post means after. These are kind of similar, but in English, we have what's known as preposition. And in prepositions are words in English that show the place or the direction or the time or some sort of relationship of something. For example, like in or inside or after or before or outside, anything like that. So prepositions, because they're pre, they come before what you're talking about, like inside the cloud. So it comes before, inside the cloud. Well, Korean has what's known as postpositions, post meaning after. So where do you think they're used when you're talking about something? That's right, kids. They're used after what it is that you're talking about. But the way they work is pretty much the same. So Korean postpositions, though, are not the exact same as English prepositions. These are not the exact same thing, though. Just know that. In English, we'll use some words as prepositions. Technically, they're classified as prepositions, even though in Korean, they might be different types of words. So don't get them confused like technically. So if you're an English teacher, don't think that these are the exact same thing. In Korean, postpositions are simply just words that are used to describe where or when something happens. So they're more limited, the types of words that there are in Korean that are classified as postposition. Again, this is all very technical. You don't really need to know this, but just keep in mind that they work a little bit differently than they do in English. Okay, so let's get into some common prepositions. Wait, postpositions in Korean. First up, we have an. Now, I'm just going to say this first because if you're watching and you're a intermediate learner and you've already learned these, don't worry. I have some stuff coming up for you too. So just bear with me while we go through the basic stuff for beginners who are learning about this for their first time, because I have some stuff for intermediate learners as well coming up after we go through the most basic ones. So an means in or inside. So inside of something. And let me just give you an example sentence. Okay, let me see how everyone's doing. I do know Latin, Rotu says. Laughing in Brazilian Portuguese. Yeah, it's the same. You probably know this. Okay, so again, bear with me if you already know this. Don't worry, I've got some stuff coming up for you as well in a bit. Ta an e 있어요. So 있어요, something exists, something is something, somewhere. Ta, car, ane, in or inside. And then e. What is this e doing here if an already means inside? Couldn't we just say 타 안 있어요? It is inside the car, right? No, because in Korean, every postposition is actually a regular noun. What's a noun? Well, a noun is just a word that's a person, place, or thing. It's like a thing. So it's a regular noun, meaning that if you want to say something is located at that place, in this case, the place is inside, you need to have a location marker, A. So now it is inside the car. Without this, it doesn't mean it is located there. So you still need to use particles like normal, just like a regular noun in Korean. That's right. That's right, everyone. Postpositions are not special in Korean. They are totally normal nouns, like anything else. They are not special words. So we don't have to treat them special. Show those nouns where they belong. Where'd the pen go? Okay. Because it's a noun, because every postposition in Korean is a noun, you technically could do this. My voice is like cracking. 차에 안에 있어요. What? This sentence is the exact same sentence we just did. 차 안에 있어요. But you could say 차의, so 차에 안에 있어요. What is this? This is the possessive marker, as it's called. This marks that something belongs to something or it's part of something. Like if you were to say the chars, if you were to say the car's roof or my pen, 저의 pen, 제 pen, like that. This is 차에 안에, literally the car's inside. So it is in the car's inside is what you get. Literally, you can use the possessive marker because, as I just said, every postposition is a regular noun in Korean. It's not special. It's just like saying inside of the car is just like saying the car's inside. It's the same thing in Korean because it's a regular noun. An is just a noun that means in or inside. But I will say though, don't worry about this. Don't worry about using the possessive marker with any word when you're using a postposition in Korean because it's not common. You'll see it in like a grammar book maybe. And you'll see it in this lesson I'm doing for you right now to illustrate how it works. But actual sentences will almost never use this to say something like this. So just know this sort of usage is not common. But you can. Okay. How are we on time? We are okay on time. That is fantastic. All right, next. Next we have 박. 박 means outside. Yes, the opposite of an is 박. So 박 means outside, and again, this is also just a regular noun. It's not a special vague concept of the outside. It's just a regular noun that means outside. So outside of what? Well, let's do an example sentence. How about this? How about this for our example sentence? 밖에? What? Outside? Like literally outside? Oh my God, how can we do that? Yes, it's just a regular noun. It's nothing special. So I call it postpositions just to be nice to it, so it trusts me. But in reality, it's just a plain old noun. 밖에 비가 와요. So literally rain comes. That's how you say it rains. It's raining. 비가 와요. It's raining. It's raining where? Well, the location marker, outside. 밖에 비가 와요. So it's raining outside. Literally outside. Or you could say 집 밖에 비가 와요. So now it's raining outside of the house if you want to be specific, but like literally 밖 means outside the house. So you don't really need anything like this. Do I have any questions? Do I have any questions? Do you have any questions? Any questions? 밖에 비가 와요. So it's raining outside. Next. Okay. I'm trying to go through these basic ones because I feel like most people already know these basic ones, but there are 4, 5, 6 basic ones we have to get through, and then I'll go through the ones that are more for intermediates. Okay, next. Next we have 앞. op has a few different translations. The most simple translation for op is front, as in saying in front of. But it can also just be used to mean the front. That's the op. The only negative thing is that the caps don't fit too tightly on the back, so they keep falling off. Maybe I'll just keep it here to not lose it. Anyway, it can also mean forward, like you're going front, you're going forward. So it's really just this. This is op. Anything this way, like this, is op. So we can make an example sentence. Actually, it's not that. Okay. 카페 앞에서 It's writing so nice. I'm like messing up more than usual with writing. Because it's going so fast. I'm not used to that. 카페 앞에서 기다리고 있어요. So, 기다리고 있어요. I am waiting. 기다리다, to wait. Where am I waiting? Well, 앞에서. Here, 에서 is being used. We're not using a because we're not going to the front of the cafe. We're using 에서 because we're doing something at a location. What location? The front of the cafe. So, 카페 앞 means the front of a cafe. Again, you could technically have the possessive marker right here, the cafe's front. So at the cafe's front, I am waiting, but you don't need this. 카페 앞에서 기다리고 있어요. And those of you who are really paying close attention may have noticed that I didn't say 카페. You can say 카페. It's hard to say it because most people don't. Foreign words tend to get pronounced with double consonants for the very first syllable, no matter how they're written. Now, it's not a requirement, and it's not how you should spell it, but it's what tends to happen. So something like 카페 tends to get pronounced as 카페, but you're not supposed to write it as 카페, although people do write it like that. Another word like bus, 버스, is often pronounced as well as 버스. And this applies to pretty much any loan word in Korean. So just keep an eye out. If you might hear someone pronounce something a little bit differently, that's all they're doing. It's because it's a foreign word. But you wouldn't write it like this. This looks very wrong. You should write it like this, but it's okay if you want to pronounce it like this. Just know that this is the proper pronunciation, as well as 카페. 카페 앞에서 기다리고 있어요. So I am waiting in front of the cafe. Okay. Next. Oh, there's one more thing you should know. Now, this is not a postposition. This is an adverb. An adverb can be added before any other verb, or it can also be added before other adverbs or before other verbs, before things that you're doing to describe how you're doing something. In this case, 바로 is right. For example, you can have like 지금 for like now, and you can have like 바로 지금 for like right now. You can have 앞 for in front of, or you can have 바로 앞, right in front of. So if you want to emphasize any of these postpositions, now you usually don't need to do this, but if you need to emphasize them, just put 바로 before. So instead of saying 카페 앞에서 기다리고 있어요, you can say 카페 바로 앞에서 기다리고 있어요. So not just I'm waiting in front of the cafe, but I'm waiting right in front of the cafe if you need to specify that. I will say though in Korean, because this is a common beginner mistake also that I hear, where beginners will just stick 바로 in front of things that they want to say right. You don't need to say it because 카페 앞에 already means in front of the cafe. You don't need to say right in front of the cafe in Korean. They know that 앞에 means right in front of the cafe. Same with 지금. 지금 means now. You don't need to say right now because 지금 already implies now. So yeah, just know that you don't have to say it, but it's another word that you can use if you must. Okay, the next one, I actually want you to make a sentence. The next one is 뒤. 뒤 meaning behind. I want all of you out there to make me a basic sentence. Zai is saying, wait, why is it 한국에서 but 한국에? That would be a good topic for Korean FAQ. I actually wrote, but I haven't made the video yet. But it's acceptable for when you're talking about general locations. But it's not the regular usage of 에 and 에서. So that's the really quick answer. Make a sentence using 뒤. Anything. Can be simple, it can be long. I have a really simple sentence. Actually, the sentence I have is not really low beginner level. It's like high beginner level. But I want you to make a sentence for it. 뒤, behind. 나무 뒤에 있어요. Perfect, Suzanne. Andrea, my sentence, totally random, but my example sentence I wrote also has 강아지. 의자 뒤에 있어요. Nice. So the dog, I almost said the cat. It's a weird looking cat. The dog is behind the chair. Perfect. 책상이 옷장 뒤에 있어요. Perfect. 내 뒤에 못생긴 괴물이 있어. Perfect. Nini, that's amazing sentence. 제가 빌리쌤 뒤에 있어요. Don't scare me like that. Random person, don't scare me. 그 문 뒤에서 너를 기다려요. It's waiting for you. Behind that door. That sounds creepy. 소금이 후추 뒤에 있어요. Perfect, Keith. Perfect. The salt is behind the black pepper. 큰 나무 뒤에 있어요. I'm behind the big tree. These are all great sentences. 전화기는 소파 뒤에 있어요. Of course, it is behind the sofa. Although you might want to say the 리모컨 is inside of the sofa also. And their phone is behind the sofa. Those are the common places where you put them. As well as with your keys and that missing sock. They're all hiding there. 설명해 주셔서 감사합니다. 고양이는 방 뒤에 있어요. These are awesome sentences. 차 뒤에, 차 뒤 안에 있어요. So I'm inside behind the car? No. You wouldn't say that because you're saying it is behind in the car is what you're saying. Like maybe there's a context that could work. But without context, no. 뒤에 누가 오셨어요. Perfect, Green Mind. 학교가 편의점 뒤에 있어요. Line, 있어요, but your sentence is perfect. And Nate, 저는 집 뒤에서 음악을 들어요. Perfect. 빌리쌤 뒤에 귀신 있어요. What the? Hold on. I'm gonna make sure. Hey, there's no ghost here. Don't lie to me. 자는 집 뒤. Oh, you're missing the end of your sentence for MG. 이불 뒤에 나와요. It comes from behind, comes out in behind the... Not exactly sure what you're trying to say, Parastu. Something about from behind the blanket. If you're saying comes out from, you would use the from particle, 에서. 빵집 뒤에 편의점이 있어요, is what you can say. You wouldn't use object marker with 있어요 or 있다 because there is nothing being affected. 있다 doesn't mean to have. 있다 is just to exist. In every case, it's just to exist, except for when it means to stay. But it still wouldn't attach to an object. Okay, I think that's good. We had a lot of really good sentences. Let me give you one. I wrote that too quickly. Okay. 강아지가, so the dog, 문, the door, 문 뒤에, behind the door, 숨다 is to hide. 숨었어요. So the dog hid behind the door. 강아지가 문 뒤에 숨었어요. 강아지가 문 뒤에 숨었어요. So the dog hid behind the door. You could say 문의 뒤에, but that's not really what people would do. Okay. One more simple one. Oh no, actually two. Okay. I'm going to give you, actually, no, I want you to make this sentence too. I'm going to give you the next one, but I want you to make this sentence. We means the top. It can also mean on top of. And it also means above. In fact, the 한자, there is a 한자 that represents it, but we won't go into that. Okay, so yeah, anything that's above or anything that's on top or the top itself, that's all we. So we is top or above. Make a sentence with we. Don't do we are, we are, but like anything else is cool. 식당은 은행. You wouldn't put any markers after that. 책상 위에 있어요. Nice, Suzanne. 고양이가 테이블 위에 있습니다. Of course the cat is on top of the table. That is the default spot for a cat, is on top of a table. Or right underneath your rolling computer chair, like right at the bottom where you're going to roll over their tail if you aren't looking. That's the other spot for the cat. Or on top of your keyboard itself. 산 위로 갈 거예요. I'm going to go on top of the mountain. Row 2, it's A because that's where it is simply located. It's not doing anything though at that action. It's not doing anything at that location. There's no action going on at the location. If that makes sense. It already took place. If you were to say is currently hiding or is finding a place to hide or something like that, then you would use 에서 since they're like actively doing it. Otherwise, though, it's simply used as the location marker where something went, where something moved to, and that's it. So it's the final spot where it happens, so it's just A. 캐슬 빌리 머리 위에 있어요. Okay, Kiket's on top of my head. 하늘 위에, oh, you didn't finish the sentence. 책상 위에 사과가 있어요. There's an apple on top of the table. Very nice. 고양이가 제 머리 위에 앉아요. Yes. The cat sits on top of my head. Okay. 산 위에 벌써 눈이 있네요. There's already snow on top of the mountain. Nice. 세상 위에 뜨고 있어요. Okay. 개미가 집 위에 있어요. There's a spider on top of the house. All right, you got to burn the whole thing down in that point. In that case, there's nothing can be done. It's too late. 테이블 위에 있어요. 가수는 무대 위에서 노래하고 있어요. Very nice. 고양이가 제 다리 위에 있어요. Yes, that's another spot for the cat. 사과가 책상 위에 있어요. Very nice. 책은 책상 위에 있어요. Very nice. 편지가 책상 위에 있어요. Nice. 책 침대 위에 있어요. You would only use 에서 if something's doing an action at that location. In that sentence, something's doing something at that location or did something at that location, then you would use 에서. Otherwise, if you're just talking about something moving to a location, like it's there, or it's just going there, movement, then you would just use A. Since A is just the location marker and nothing else. 소스 핫도그 위에 더 주세요. Okay, so you'd probably say 핫도그에 소스 더 뿌리세요. But you could say 더 주세요 if you didn't know that verb, and that's fine. Please give me more sauce. 집 위에 있어요. I'm on top of the house. All right. Should probably get down from top of the house. Not a safe place to be. All right. Let me give you one. Almost done with these basic ones. Oh, I wrote that in the wrong order. I was like, that felt really weird. All of these sentences I'm giving you are quite simple, but there are more in the worksheet. Again, you can get the worksheet on my Patreon along with every single worksheet I've ever made and every single outline I've ever made for only the price of $1 total. Yes, I'm serious. On my Patreon page, if you join for $1, you can download every single live stream worksheet and outline I've ever made, including this one. And there are more sentences that you can practice with there. 나무 위에. So on top of the tree, 원숭이가 있어요. There's a monkey on top of the tree. Where's the monkey? Well, it is 나무 위에. So the top of the tree. It is on the top of the tree. There's a monkey on top of the tree. 나무 위에 원숭이가 있어요. So there's a monkey on top of the tree. And last but not least, for the basic ones, next we have 옆, which means aside, like next to something. It's on that side. So next to. I'll leave this up for a second. I'm going to check the chat and then I'm going to write a sentence for that. Let's see, how are we on time? We're actually okay on time if I keep this up. 2층은 3층 위에 있어요. That's not possible? Because the third floor would be on top of the second floor. I think you meant 3층은 2층 위에 있어요. Yes, there's a monkey. Okay. All right. So. 옆. Now, this is different than 곁. I'm not doing 곁 for today. 곁 is like someone's side, like stay on my side, like that. Anyway, okay, 집 옆에. So next to the house, or the house's side, literally on the side of the house. 차를, this is optional, the car. 주차하다 is to park. Now, you can park anything. You can park a car. You can also park a bike. But in this case, it is 차를 주차했어요. 집 옆에 차를 주차했어요. 집 옆에 차를 주차했어요. So I parked the car next to the house. Now you know all of the most basic prepositions. But I'll leave this up for a second, and then we're going to go on to some other, still kind of basic, but there's more that we can talk about. These are all the really straightforward ones, though. 친구 옆에서 춤을 추고 있어요. I'm dancing next to my friend. 저 옆에 있어요. My younger sibling is next to me. Yes. 나 네 옆에 항상 있을게. I'll always be on your side. Next to you. Yes. 샘 옆에 있는 거 같아요. 있는 것 같아요. So not 있은, but 있는. Oh, and then Keith, it's the strong consonant for the T at the bottom. 밑에. 카페가 제 집 옆에 있어요. Very nice. 우리 딸은 아빠 옆에 앉아요. Very good. 고양이는 내 음식 옆에 있어요. Of course, the cat is next to your food. Probably trying to eat your food. And at the very least, the cat is sniffing it so close that the cat, the cat's nose is going to bump it and then make it dirty, so you don't want to eat it. But then they're not going to eat it either. They're just going to be like, ew, I don't want that. But they're going to sniff it like, oh, let's see, what do you have? Oh, that pizza smells so good. And then, I don't want any of it. After they like smash their face into it. I also had a cat growing up. Cats, I guess. 샘, 안과 속. That's actually what we're doing next. Oh, not very next, but yeah, next. It's coming up. 우리 집 옆에 뭔가 있어요. Nice. 타키가 핸드폰 옆에 있어. Yes, very good. Food will never be left behind. Yeah, if you have a dog. That's right. For a cat, food will always be left behind, including their own food. Because they'll like scream in your face for food, and you finally get them put it in the can open, you open it up, you give them like a nice big bowl of food, you refill their water, they'll walk up to their food, they're like start eating, you're like, it's a good cat. They'll eat like one little teaspoon and then they'll like look around and just leave. You're like, you just waste, what are you doing? They'll like leave and go do something else. And then they'll come back later and eat a little more. You never know if they're like starving to death or they just want to like taste something and they're just kind of bored. Which is actually, that's actually an expression I'll teach you right now. This is not related to the lesson at all, but you should know this. Ibi shimshimada. So ip is mouth. Shimshimada is bored. In this case, yeah, like you feel bored. So your mouth is bored. Can you guess what this expression means? I'll give you a second. You don't have to write it in the chat. Just think about it. What do you think this expression could mean? Could mean your mouth is bored. Is what you say when you're just a little bit, you're not necessarily hungry, but you kind of want to eat something. So we might just say, oh, I kind of want something. I kind of want like a snack. I just want to eat something small. But it's not like for a meal. This would be like, 입이 좀 심심한데? Like, I just kind of want to eat something. You're just bored. So you just go in the cupboard and grab like a bag of chips, or you grab like some chocolate or some gum or candy or something like that. Just something to chew on for a little bit because your mouth's bored. So this is what you say. And you can say, 입이 좀 심심해. Like, oh, my mouth's a little bored. That means I kind of want something to eat. But that doesn't mean you're hungry though. I feel like that's cats. They want something, but they don't communicate how much they want it. It's just always like max level. Like, give it to me now. Let me out of the house right now. Like, 바로 지금, let me out of the house. And then you open the door and they're like, they'll look out, they'll walk out for a second, and then you're like, okay, they're gone. You close the door, and immediately they're scratching at the door to come back in because they actually didn't want to go out. They're just kind of bored. They just kind of wanted to look around and see if there's any news, anyone hanging out, if they need to find anything out. Nope. Okay, back in. So yeah. Okay. I finished one page here. I still have a lot more to go though. I was going really fast because those are the basics. So that's all the really basic. That's the most basic prepositions in Korean. So now we have to talk about a few prepositions that are commonly confused. And the first one we're gonna do is this set. 아래 and 밑. These are two more prepositions that are often confused. So first, let me give you their definitions. 아래 means below or under. And 밑 means below or under. What? Are these the same, Billy? Can we use both of them, Billy? Kind of. They have different nuances though, which means they're going to be used in. They have different nuances though that you should know. 아래 means specifically below some level. So you can kind of think of it like this. Like here's a level, and 아래 means anywhere here, anywhere below that level. 밑, however, doesn't mean below a certain level. It means underneath something. Underneath something. So maybe there's an object here and it's somewhere here. If that kind of makes sense. So the key difference is that 아래 is talking about being below or under relative to something. So relative to some level, 아래 is below that or under that. And 밑, however, means underneath or below something. You can think of this as like being at the base or the foundation of something, or even like the ground. So 밑 can sometimes imply something's on the ground because it's under or below something. Therefore, if that something is on the ground also, it's going to be on the ground. So it kind of has the nuance of like the base or the foundation. I'll just write found of something. Whereas this is like relative to a level. Relative to something else, this is below it. Whereas this is simply underneath something, maybe the base of it or the foundation of it, or maybe on the ground, like that. So practically, let me give you an example of each of these. So here's one example first of 아래. Okay. 창문 아래에 고양이가 있어요. So there is a cat 아래에, below or under, relative to the level of the window. So here's the window. So in this case, the level is the window. And then somewhere below here, you have the cat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, cat lovers. It looks like a rat. 창문 아래에 고양이가 있어요. So there's a cat underneath the window. Again, relative to the window, there's a cat. Perfectly fine. What if we were to have 창문 밑에 고양이가 있어요? Remember I said that 창문 밑에 is underneath something. Well, it could be the cat is right here, or it could be, well, here's the ground and the cat is now on the ground, specifically indicating the cat's on the ground, like completely below the window. You can actually use both 아래 and 밑에 to say that something is below or under an object, because in this case, they both kind of work. If you say a cat's below the window, well, the cat could be directly like below the level of the window. The cat could be specifically below the window on the ground, at the base of the window. Any of that works. So if you're just saying something's below something or underneath something, like if you wanted to say the cat is underneath the desk, 책상. 책상 means desk. If you wanted to say the cat is underneath the desk, well, if the cat's sitting on the floor under the desk, it is both 아래 and 밑에 the desk, right? So you can use either one when you're trying to say that an object, that something or whatever, is below another object or under another object. Both of them work for that. Now let me give you an example with 밑. Oops. 밑에서 Oh wait, I was like, that's spelled wrong as soon as I wrote it. Okay. 책상 밑에서 돈을 주었어요. Now this verb 주었어요 comes from the verb 줍다. 줍다 means specifically to pick up something from the ground. 줍다, like to pick up something from the ground. So 주었어요. So I picked up, what did I pick up? 돈. I picked up money from, where was I at when I did this action of picking up something? 밑에서, below or under the desk. So from below the desk or under the desk, I picked up money. So I picked up money underneath the desk. 밑에. So 밑에서 here, we have an object. In this case, it's the desk. And we are located somewhere below there. In this case, maybe on the ground, right? So it implies the base or the foundation of the desk. If the money was like attached up here to the desk, you might say 아래 instead, because it couldn't mean like the base or the floor, but it's not, it's kind of vague. If you don't need to specify that something's like relative to something's height or, relative to something. Let me say this again. If you don't need to specify that something's like relatively lower specifically, or on the bottom of something specifically, like at the base, you can use either 아래 or 밑 in the same way to say below or under. But there are some exceptions to that. One more thing you can also use them for. You can also use 아래 and 밑 to both say that something is under someone's influence or something's influence. Like if you wanted to say that you learned from underneath a amazing teacher who's just so happened to be named Billy Go and teaches Korean. If you learned Korean under such an amazing teacher as that, you could use 아래 or 밑. However, if you're talking about a document, say you have a document here, And in the document, you wanted to say, please sign below here. Which one of these would you use? I'll tell you there is a right answer. Make a guess. Make a guess. Okay, let's check the chat for a second. I want to see what you guess. One of these you can use to say something's below, like sign below, or read the following information below. Well, I'm restarting my YouTube page. It always crashes randomly while you're guessing. Okay. I see lots of guesses. Most people are guessing are. Some people are guessing meet. Because it's at the bottom? No. There is a right answer to this. I'll tell you why. In this case, you could only use are because what is the difference again? Are is something relative. Are is relatively below or relatively under something, some sort of level, right? This is the level you're talking about. Meet, however, is lower than an object, lower than something, and it implies at the base or at the foundation. So you're not saying something necessarily is at the bottom of the page, you're saying something is below here. In that case, anytime you're talking about below in a document, it's always going to be just are. And here's a mountain. Okay, this is a mountain. Okay, it's a mountain. I'll write mountain so you know it's a mountain. If someone says that there is treasure, are the mountain or meet the mountain? Which one, where do you think it would be located if they said the treasure is 산 아래에 있어요? So are is just going to be anywhere relative below the mountain. So anywhere on the mountain, below it. And meet is specifically talking about underneath, like actually inside maybe somewhere. Like maybe it's inside the mountain here at the base, on the ground. There's something, there's like a special treasure here or whatever, or maybe like a special boulder that indicates the treasure or something like that. So there can be cases where the nuance will be important if you want to specify exactly where something is relative to something that's not obvious. Like if you're talking about a bridge, it's really obvious when you're talking about a bridge which one you might want to use. Both of them could work, but there's a slightly different nuance difference when you're talking about something's below a bridge. Because if you say are, as again, that's just relative to a level, it's anywhere underneath the bridge. But if you're saying meet, it kind of implies like maybe it's like underneath the water, or maybe there's like an area here of land and it's like somewhere here. So just keep that in mind, the nuance difference of are and meet. But if you say something is below the bridge, you can use either one. It's just a slight nuance difference, but you're not really necessarily going to be wrong if you use one or the other, because you can have something here and technically it's relative lower than this bridge, or you can have something here and use meet, and then, here and use meet, technically it's still underneath the bridge, so it works. So most of the time you can use either one. Just know that there is a nuance difference, and there will be some cases, like specifically a location of something that's like vague. If you want to be like really specific, like, no, I mean below is in on the ground, then use meet. If you're like, no, I just mean below is in like lower than that level, then use are. Okay. I wish that was the only confusing postposition, but there are also two more postpositions that commonly get confused, and you might know which ones I'm going to talk about. An and 속. An and 속 both mean inside. Now, we already did inside, right? I said something is inside of the car, and we talked about how that works. Well, there's another postposition that also means inside. 속. So let me ask you this. What if you wanted to say that something is... Actually, let me first tell you what it means. So, an and sok both mean inside. But sok means more like deep inside of something. Or you can also think of it as translating as within. So like within something, deep inside. Whereas an is just in something or inside something. So if you had a kabang, you have a bag. Which one could you use? If you have something inside of your bag, would you use kabang ane or kabang soge? Which would you use? I just want you to think about this. I'll let you know it's kind of a trick question, so don't worry if you get it wrong, but just think about it for a second. Zodiac says I'm cute. Thank you. That's what my wife says too. Okay, ane. Someone says both. Okay, both. Another both from Keith. On, someone says the other sounds terribly poetic. Okay, interesting. Ane, either. Okay, ane. I'm letting you know that it's kind of a trick question. So like I said, don't feel bad if you get it wrong unless you already knew it. But another guess for both. You take care, Rodu. Okay, I'll tell you the answer. You can use either. If you're talking about inside of any object, and that includes like bags or things, it also includes any body object. So any body part. So like inside of your stomach, inside of anything. So inside of any single object, inside of any object, you can use either an or sok to mean inside. They both have the same meaning. Now, for general use, an is going to be more common, but you're not wrong if you say kabang sok, because you're talking about within the bag or in the bag. They're both fine to use in English as well, but you're commonly more going to use just an unless you need to specifically, but they're both okay. However, that's where their similarities end, because while an just means in or inside, sok has several extra uses that an does not. So I said that sok can mean within. It can also be used to mean within any sort of like situation. Whereas you can't do that with an. This isn't a really common usage, but if you see some sort of situation and then soge, like within that battle or whatever, you can use sok for that, but you cannot use an, because an is just really physically inside, and sok is more metaphorically inside. Although, like I said, both of them can be used to literally mean inside of an object. But when you're not talking about an object, you have to use sok to say within something. Also, if you're talking about someone's heart or mind, you can use sok, but you can't use an. Like if you're talking about like within my maum sok, you wouldn't use maum an, because that's very literal, like inside of your actual like heart. You'd use sok for that, because again, it's like metaphorical. So within my heart, within my mind, that sort of meaning. Or deep inside of my heart, deep inside of my mind, like that. You can use sok. I'm gonna leave this up for a second. That's not it though. Keith mentions 속옷. Yeah, literally 속옷 is your inside clothes, which is what you would know as underwear. Just another random guy says, when things are not physically inside. Well, it can be. Note that it also is used for physically things that are inside of something, but it's also used metaphorically, as we're seeing. But we'll go back to that again in a second. So I'm not just going to give you a bunch of metaphorical examples. And there's one other big difference when you're talking about one specific body part, and that is your stomach. Normally your 배. Now, you can say 배 안에 or 배 속에 to mean inside of your stomach, but the word 속 by itself, just 속, can also mean insides, like my insides. So you don't need to use it. So you wouldn't use it with 배 to say that your insides hurt, literally. This is how you would say like your stomach hurts. So you could make this sentence. 속이 좀 안 좋아. 속이 좀 안 좋아. 속이 안 좋아. Literally, my insides are not good. My insides are bad. And that's referring to, the insides here is referring to your stomach. So this means, yeah, my stomach kind of hurts. You'd use 속 for that because it's like metaphorically talking about your insides. But yeah, referring to your stomach. So again, you could use 배 안에 to say like something is inside your stomach, or 배 속에. But if you're talking about just your stomach as in it feels good or if it doesn't feel good, then just use 속 by itself to mean my insides as in my stomach. So 속이 안 좋아. That's how you tell someone you have a stomach ache. Like your stomach kind of hurts after you eat Taco Bell or something like that. Actually, funny enough, my stomach actually is pretty fine after eating Taco Bell. I know that's the joke that you eat too much Taco Bell and your stomach hurts, but I don't think I've once had a stomach problem from eating Taco Bell. I do get stomach problems when I eat Chipotle though, but that's not because of Chipotle's food. That's because I absolutely drown my burrito in their the spicy Tabasco sauce. They have a Chipotle flavored Tabasco sauce. Every time it destroys my stomach and I learn nothing. I do it again. I'll do it again the next time. Don't test me, I'm gonna do it. But it's so good. But yeah, because of that, that's pretty much the only food that actually will hurt my stomach is when I have Chipotle because I eat it like that. But yeah, I'm actually pretty fine with Taco Bell. And because 속 can mean deep inside, there are certain words that you'll see it used together with that imply something is not just inside of something, but it's like deep within something. A common example, I think I only wrote that one, yeah. You'll see a few examples, like 숲 속. 숲 is a forest. So like, you're not saying 숲 안에, you're not saying something's inside the forest, but you're saying 숲 속, as in like deep within the forest. So like deep in the forest, like that. So you might say something like, 숲 속에 곰이 살아요. Bears or a bear lives deep within the forest. So like bears live in the forest. You're not just saying like inside the forest, but you're like implying there's no one specific like location, just like deep within, surrounded by trees is what it implies. Versus if you just say something's inside, it doesn't really mean that it's deep within. It's just maybe there's like a circle of trees or something and it's just in there somewhere. But this implies it's surrounded by whatever it's inside of. So if you say another common word, 산속. 산속 is like deep in the mountains. It doesn't just mean that something's like chilling in a cave inside of the mountain, but it implies that it's like surrounded by mountains all around. So deep within the mountains. And you can say a bear lives in the mountains, like kind of a vague general way of saying somewhere over there, like maybe there are tigers. 산속에 호랑이가 살아요. There are tigers living in the mountains. You don't really mean that they're inside of the mountains themselves. You're saying that they're surrounded by. So it kind of has that feeling of being surrounded by whatever it is that you use it after. And that's the difference between an and 속. And if you're ever worried, which one should I use, Billy? Just use an, because you probably just mean to say inside. That's the easy answer. That's the pro tip. This is the difference, but 99% of the time when you want to say inside, you just mean to say on. You literally are saying inside of something, in which case on. How are we on time? We're actually okay on time. I'm actually exactly on the time that I scheduled. This is great. Okay. I have a few more examples though to give you. You're doing okay on time. All right. I do have a few more examples. So that's not it. I've provided you with all of the postpositions we're going to be doing for the lesson, but there's one more thing you should know about postpositions. And I said this in the beginning, but every postposition is just a regular noun in Korean. So because it's a noun, we saw that we could use it with the possessive marker if we wanted, a or 의. Because it's a noun, we also saw that we use it with like particles like 에 or 에서, right? But because it's a noun, what else can you do with a noun in Korean? Well, you can describe nouns, right? Not only can you use them as locations, like I went in front of the door or something like that, or I am sitting in front of the door, but you can also describe the noun itself. You can also describe any noun. You can say, the front of the car is dirty. The top of the building is green. Outside is hot. You can describe these postpositions just like any other noun because again, they are just regular nouns. They're not special. So let's do that. Hey, Kai. Thank you, Kai. Kai is now on our leaderboard twice. Let me pause and give some dabs to thank Kai, as always. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you again, Kai, for the top of the hour donation. So I'm going to give you an example sentence. This blue pen is already dying. I'll go to the green again. 건물 안이 더 더워요. So first of all, 더워요, hot, like I feel hot. 더, more, so I feel hotter. So what feels hotter? 건물, the building, 안, the inside of the building is hotter. So say it's like really hot outside and you just want to get away from the heat. So you find some shade and there's a door and you're like, oh, let's go inside the building to relax. There's no one in here. But 건물 안이 더 더워요. The inside of the building is hotter. So you're not just saying 건물 안에 갔어요 or 안에 anything. You're not doing something there specifically, 안에서, whatever. Now you're actually directly describing the noun. Again, it's a noun meaning inside, the inside of the building. So you're not going to the inside of the building. It's not something happening at the inside of the building. It is now talking about the inside of the building itself. So we can describe these just like any other verb. And here we're using the subject marker just because we're describing it with the descriptive verb 덥다, to be hot. 건물 안이 더 더워요. So the inside of the building is hotter. Hold on, let me see. I want to try a different color. Not black, I have plenty of black. Let's see. Let's try red. Okay, maybe not red, let's see. Oh, is this one right? Pink, is this pink? I feel like pink won't even be visible. But I kind of want to try it. I'm going to try it. I feel like you won't be able to see it, but I'm going to try it. Oh wait, no, there's brown. Let's do brown. Brown's kind of cool. Okay. Yeah, you can see that. not only can you describe it, but you could also do things to it. Because again, 다리, the bridge, 아래, the under part, the underside, the below or whatever. Here, we're talking about it. We're looking at it. 보세요. So look at the object marker marking what we're looking at. Look under the bridge. 다리 아래를 보세요. So you might say like 다리를 보세요, like look at the bridge. And here we're changing it to 다리 아래. So look under the bridge. Literally look the under of the bridge. 다리 아래를 보세요. So look underneath the bridge. I know this doesn't really mean underneath by itself, but it's under or below. Underneath works fine. In English, look underneath the bridge. Underneath, I believe, is it's used as like an adverb, I think. Yeah, and the way that it works in English is slightly different. But in Korean, like I said, they're all nouns. So you use it just like a regular noun. After this, I have one more sentence. So we're coming up to our last sentence. 다리 아래를 보세요. So look under the bridge. Again, you're looking, what are you looking at? You're actually looking directly at the 아래. And that's the bridge's 아래. So 다리의 아래를 보세요. So look at the under of the bridge is what you're saying. So look under the bridge. And one more sentence. 신발, shoes. Careful when you pronounce that. It could sound like a swear word. 신발 옆이. So the 옆, the side. So the side of the shoe, 이, so we're going to describe it. 더럽다, to be busy, to be dirty. 더럽다, to be dirty. 더러워요. So the side of the shoe is dirty. Literally though, the shoe's side is dirty. 신발 옆이 더러워요. So the sides of the shoes are dirty. 신발 옆이 더러워요. That's all that these postpositions are, is regular nouns. So you can use them with any particle depending on what it is that you're trying to say. But they're not special verbs. They're not like special adverbs, I mean. They don't need like special treatment or special rules for using them. It's the exact same rules, the exact same sentence structure that you use with any word when you're using postpositions. So that's it for the main part. So that's it for our, let me say that, because not the whole lesson. There's one more tiny thing that I want to teach. There actually is a word in Korean for preposition and postposition. 전치사 and 후치사. 전 is a Hanja word that means before, and 후 means after. So, therefore, 전치사 means preposition, and 후치사 means postposition. Most Koreans I've run into know the word 전치사 because you learn this word as part of your English curriculum, because in English we use prepositions. So Koreans learn the word 전치사 while they're learning English prepositions. 후치사, though, I think most people wouldn't know. Now, if there's a native Korean speaker watching, if you can correct me, do Koreans know the word 후치사? My understanding is that they don't know this one as well as they know the word 전치사. But these are the words you would use. So in Korean uses what's known as 후치사, and English or other languages use what's known as 전치사. I wouldn't necessarily recommend learning these words though, unless you're already at a conversational level, unless you're already like speaking Korean pretty good. You don't need to learn these words unless you're already having full conversations. But in case you wanted to know what they are in Korean, there you go. 전치사 and 후치사. Zai is asking about, you're asking about a different word. 옆, 면, literally the side face. This whole lie was just an excuse for Billy to roast postpositions and make sure they know that they aren't special. You aren't special prepositions. You aren't special postpositions. Actually, prepositions are a little bit special in English because they have unique ways that they work, and there are a lot of them, and they have more usage situations. Like I said, there in English ones, we have prepositions that can talk about like the relation of two things to another, as well as like a lot of them talking about the time. Whereas in Korean, they're pretty much just limited to location. There are some that can talk about the time, like you can say, like 뒤 can also be used to mean after doing something in that sense, but it's not a word that's like exclusive to talking about the time. So yeah, the English ones are a little bit more complicated than Korean ones, I think. Korean ones are super simple. Okay, that is our entire lesson on postpositions. But before we finish, I'm going to take some questions. So stick around if you have any questions you want to ask. I'm going to take questions on anything you want to know. First, though, I'm going to do a really quick thumbnail. Let me just erase this. First, let me do a quick thumbnail. I always do like a thumbnail. One of those is a thumbnail. Again, I say this every time, but especially for this lesson, get the worksheet for this lesson because I wanted to do twice as many sentences as we got through. And I was like, as it is, I was rushing through these sentences. You know, we did them really quick. But I had twice as many originally. And those ones I couldn't put in the lesson, I put into the worksheet. So there's like an extra 8 sentences in the worksheet using the same ones that we just did, just with more examples. Get that on my Patreon page. Again, you only have to join for $1 if you want to get those. You don't have to pay me tons of money. It's just $1 donation gets you access to every single live stream outline I've ever done, as well as every single worksheet I've ever put out. There's a worksheet for this. This one's 2 pages for the outline. You can get this as well, and it'll go up as soon as the live stream's over today. Okay, now I'm going to take some questions. So you can ask questions about anything we did today or anything in general if you want to know, and I'll answer questions for until the room starts to get too hot and the air conditioner turns on and I realize I've been going for 3 hours. Hopefully not again. Last week we went for like, I don't know, like last week was like a 3 hour long live stream. What about 맞은 편? So there are a lot of other words like that talk about specifically location that I was tempted to add to today, but they're technically not considered postpositions because they're just nouns. But like, as I just taught you, these are also all just nouns. 맞은 편 means the facing side. Literally, 맞다 is to face, and 편 is a side of something. So 맞은 편 is how you would say the other side of something, as in the side that faces one side. So you can say 길 맞은 편에 있어요, like it's on the other side of the street, implying like it's on this same location facing me, but on the other side of the street is what it means. Hey, Mikey! Billy has books on Amazon. I do have books on Amazon. I have a lot of books on Amazon. Or you can get them on my website if you don't like Amazon. Let me give you some dabs, Mikey, with some music. Get the kimchi animation rolling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And yeah, I have, maybe I'll do another book next year. I'm working on something as we speak, but I can't announce it yet until it's ready. I have some more videos coming up. I'm especially proud of the video that's coming up on this Friday. I just think it was the greatest thing I've ever made, in my opinion. I like it. I don't know what you'll think of it, but I thought it turned out really fun. This is the most you know, me telling people that you can like download a worksheet for $1. That's probably the most advertising that I do. That's not true. I do like mention stuff. Like when I make my free series, I'll say, hey, I also have books. But let's get on to the lesson. 반대쪽. 반대 means opposite. So instead of saying the other side, now you're saying the opposite. And 쪽 is direction, not side. So that's the opposite direction, 반대쪽. And 반대편 is the opposite side. So do you want to convey that something's on the facing side from you? Or do you want to say that something's on the opposite side for you? What's the difference? It's just a nuance difference. That's it. There could be cases where you want to convey that it's on the opposite side for something, as in it's not necessarily facing, but it's like opposite to it. Then you can use that. Or else 맞은편 kind of has the feeling like it's facing something. But they're both the same if you want to say on the other side of the street. Billy, when did you start dabbing? That's a good question. I don't think I dabbed when I first started these live streams in the beginning at all. I believe I started doing the dabs like during COVID. I think COVID just drove me crazy and I started doing dabs. I think that's what happened. I can't remember the first time I started doing them. 옆에 약국 있어요. 약국이 가까워요. 약국이 근처에 있어요. Those are different. The first one is 옆에 is like next to somewhere or next to here. There is a pharmacy. 약국이 가까워요 just means the pharmacy is close. So it's unrelated to saying it's next to. You're not saying it's next to anything. You're just saying it's close. The end. Close to what? Close to here? Close to somewhere? And then 근처. 근처 is another word that just means what's the word? Neighborhood. In the area. You can say it's in somewheres in neighborhood. It's over in that area. It's over in this area. You can say any sort of area. 근처 is just that neighborhood, that area of whatever you're talking about. And yeah, you can also use it. It's just a regular noun. So it's the same as a preposition. I mean, postposition. You can use it in the same way. Though I didn't include that in the lesson because there are, like I said, there are too many regular nouns that can be used to describe any type of location. So if I started going into those, there are just way too many. It would flood the live stream with random. It would just become a vocabulary lesson. Whereas I'm not trying to teach you every noun in Korean that's a location, because 건물 is also a noun that's a location that you could use it just like any other noun. So I wanted to instead focus on the concept of how they work. But yeah, that's if you're wondering why didn't I cover this word that I thought is a postposition. It's not really, it's just a noun. But then again, all the postpositions are also nouns. So, and Kinsey, the difference I actually covered in the lesson today, because that's just the difference between whether you'd use the location marker, the location particle, a, or would you use the subject marker e or ka. And if you don't know those differences, I actually have a free course. I'll link to it right here. Let's do beginner course. If you're asking the difference between ane and ani, that's difference between using the location particle and using the subject marker, which are completely unrelated, but I teach those in my beginning course. So you can start there. Start from lesson 1, even if you already know the alphabet, because it all moves in order. You just don't have to bother taking notes if you already know it, but at least watch it so you don't miss anything. And it goes over all of that. But if I were to answer that in this lesson, it's like I said, those are two separate topics. But good news is you can learn it all for free. And if you start watching lesson 1, I guarantee you, if you don't take notes, you will eventually, even if you're not at the beginning level, you'll eventually get to a point within the same day you started that you are learning new stuff. So I think the entire course is like 13 or 14 hours of content, which is totally doable in one day if you already knew the content. Like if you just feel like, oh, I already know this, but I don't want to start from the beginning anymore. But I definitely am not at the level 100 yet. Where do I go? Well, just watch it from the beginning. You'll eventually get through all of it in a few hours. And then you'll reach the point where you need to take notes. But it's not that long, is what I'm trying to say. Like 13 hours is a lot, but it's not that much. All things considered for how much stuff you learn in that course. How often do you do these live classes? I try to do them every Sunday. The lessons, however, are 2 in a row and then 1 live stream off. So I'll do 2 live stream on Sunday. I'll do a live stream. The next week I'll do a live stream class. But then the next week, then I'll take a break. But sometimes lately I've actually been doing a 3rd bonus live stream anyway. It just happens. But if you're ever wondering when is the next live stream, check my Google document. I'll link to that as well. Where's that? Google document. Yeah, the Google document has everything. So if you're wondering, where did I teach this? Where's the outline for this? The worksheet for this? What topics did I teach? Everything is there. 100% of everything I teach in there. So yeah, you can also find out the future live stream dates. So you can see them right now. The upcoming live stream dates are also in there. Edon says, since you brought it up, can you explain how to say 18 without being offensive? I need to be careful because I don't want to don't want to accidentally. I want to be careful that I don't let the content go in that direction, but I'll just teach it to you only by focusing on the correct pronunciation. Sorry, I was thinking about this. This is the regular 10. I looked at it, I'm like, wait, why did I write it like that? Ship pai. Make sure you're saying both of these sounds and you'll be okay. If you don't say one of these sounds, you swore. So that's the most important thing. Just make sure that you say both of them and you're okay. The other trick is don't randomly go up to people and say 18, even if you're saying it perfectly. It's like, what? Like, don't go up to someone's face. Whoa, hey, 18. Like, even if you say it perfectly right, they're going to be like, why are you swearing at me? Because they'll think it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Use it in context. And even if you say it wrong, people will still assume, they'll still know what you're trying to say. And the other thing is no one's going to be offended if you say it wrong, as long as it's in context either. Like they're totally going to know, oh, I see. They just pronounced it wrong. Haha. Who cares? They're not going to care. Kai, wait a second. It's not the top of the hour yet. It's not the top of the hour yet, Kai. Today's live stream is brought to you by Kai. Yes, Kai. If you're impatient like me and don't want to wait for a physical book, oh, hold on. Let me do the dabs first before I forget. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, you don't want to wait for a physical book. His website also, are you doing advertising for me after you donate to me, Kai? Aw. His website also has PDF versions of his book for sale as well to everyone who doesn't know. That's true. I do have, okay, fine. I have PDF versions of all of my books that I've made, that I published also, that you can get. And most of my books also have ebook versions, although the reading books do not have ebook versions because they have too many. The first reading book anyway, I think did I make it in an ebook? I actually can't remember. One of them doesn't have an ebook. Anyway, yeah, they all have PDF versions though. So you can get those right away. They're also cheaper and in PDF form since I don't have to pay printing or shipping costs or anything like that for the physical books. The PDFs, I price them. They're actually the same. If you're wondering, like, many people message me. They're like, hey, Billy, I just want to support you. Which one do you get more money from if I buy it from PDF or I buy it from book? I actually priced it the same. So I get the same amount whether you buy it in PDF or book form. I did that on purpose because I'm not trying to take advantage of the fact that I don't have shipping costs or printing costs with it. And I just priced it at the exact same. So basically you can buy it and you're paying the extra money you pay for a print book just pays for the printing costs and the shipping costs. And that's it. But I don't charge you extra or less or whatever for buying one version or the other, because I know some people just have preferences. If they like using a physical book or if they prefer using a digital book, I didn't want to like punish someone who prefers one way or the other. So it's pretty much the exact same price as far as what I get. Keith says, I was gonna say, I'll let my context speak for me. Yeah. Since you don't advertise all the time, I will do some, I'm trying to think of like easy advertising stuff I can do. And I think if I like, I'm going to be working on something, I can't announce it yet, but I will be working on something that I will be kind of advertising soon, but it's not, like I said, it's not like a product that I'm selling so much, but anyway. Oh wait, no, never mind. That thing I'm going to be working on is actually also going to be free, I believe. So I take it back. But I was like, I know I'm working on something where I'm going to advertise that you can download it. But then I remember, no, that project I'm working on right now, I'm making a video to advertise it is actually going to be a free product. So I take it back. What Korean phrase do you say most frequently? Or do you have a favorite? I get asked this question a lot. I always give a different answer, but I don't really have a favorite word. The same way I don't really have a favorite English word or English expression, because when you learn enough of the language, there isn't going to be like one thing that you're always saying because you have the entire language at your fingertips. But I think when I was a beginner and when I was an intermediate learner, my favorite word was 헐. So this is one of the words I often answer with. 헐 is a humorous version of the expression word 헉. 헉 is actually just a sound. It's the same thing as going, it's a gasp sound. 헉. So this is how Korean people gasp, is by saying 헉. So 헐 is a humorous way to gasp. So it's a sarcastic way of gasping. So it's like, oh my. It's basically like that, like, oh. It's a sarcastic way of gasping when you realize something. But it has a lot of uses because it's a sarcastic gasp. So I just think it sounds funny. Like, oh no. Or you can gasp if you made a mistake and then you're like, 헐. It kind of means like, oops, but it's really just a gasp. It's like, uh-oh, like you're being sarcastic that you messed up or you realize someone's mistake. But it can also be used seriously. Like if you really want to be like, uh-oh, and it's like a legitimately, like a real mistake, it also works too, but it's kind of a humorous way to say it. So this was my favorite word, but yeah, the more Korean I learn, the less of favorite words or favorite expressions I have. I don't really have anything like that anymore. I pretty much just say different things depending on what I'm talking about. Seeing kimchi on the screen, wanted to mention that my cat is called Kimchi. That's funny. Do you think we're getting a Billy Go app? I once did have an app, believe it or not, but the app was just links to my website to download my PDF lessons. So it wasn't really an app. And I was considering making the Hangul Attack, the keyboard game that I made. I have a typing game. If anyone doesn't know, it's a free typing game called Hangul Attack. Just pronouncing it that way because that's what it is. That's how it's written in English. And it's a free typing game you can download that I made. And I made several versions of it. I did an update of it, I think last year or whatever. And I was also thinking about remaking that as an app that you could use on a phone or on a tablet or a Chromebook or Windows or Mac or anything without having to download anything. But I don't think there's enough interest in that. Like there is some, but there's not enough interest for how much time it would take to remake it. So I haven't done it. But other than that, I can't think of a different app that I would be making. Someone also asked what your favorite Korean food is. Oh, that's easy. That I do have. If I have to pick one Korean food, it kind of alternates. It depends what I feel like. But the actual food I end up eating the most, so in reality, which one tends to be my favorite is sundae. Sundae is the Korean blood sausage. I know that sounds gross, but when you've eaten it a few times and you get kind of used to the flavor and the smell of it, although I admit it doesn't smell too great, it's my favorite Korean food, and I'll eat it at least minimum of once a week. But often when I'm in Korea, this is what I eat twice a week or sometimes 3 times a week. Yeah, it's really good. They have sundae. You can get it by itself and you can like dip it in salt or you can dip it in like different sauce or like different, what's that word? Not gochujang, but samjang. Sometimes samjang or other things you can dip in and eat it. They also have sundaekuk, which is like soup that has it in it, which you eat together with rice. Super good. Yeah, I'd probably say this is my favorite Korean food. If I have to pick one thing. Where can we find Hangul Attack? If you just search Hangul Attack, just spell it like this, you'll immediately find it. It's the only thing on the internet with this name, Hangul Attack. In fact, do I have a thing? Let me see if I have a code for it. I think so. This video will link to a video to find Hangul Attack also, in case you're wondering. It's like a tutorial video for how to type in Korean, but if you follow the link in that video in the bottom, you'll find a link to download Hangul Attack. And yeah, so I'd go there. But yeah, complete 100% free. It works on Windows, Linux, and Mac. Although on Mac, you have to follow some instructions to get it to work. So you can ask in my Discord if you want those instructions, because Apple's really weird how they like block everything. But it still does work on Mac. You just have to do a couple steps. But yeah. And you can practice. It has like consonants or vowels only mode. It has a words mode. There's like an expert mode with like lots of stuff. And yeah, just a game I made for free back in 2017, but it's had lots of new updates. So lots of music. There are like weapons you can get and like different things. And yeah, check it out. I can totally relate. We have blood sauces in Germany as well. Getting used from that towards Korean sundae was a small step to take. Oh, okay, that's great. If you have something similar, then you already know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite foods. And I have to say it's my absolute favorite because it's the food in reality I end up eating the most. But if you said like to me, Billy, I will buy you any food you want in Korea today, I wouldn't pick sundae, not because it's not my favorite, but because it's the cheapest thing also. It's really cheap. It's like 3,000 won for a serving or 5,000 won if you go to a nice place. So I wouldn't pick it if someone was going to offer to buy me a meal, but I would pick it for myself. The food I would probably pick as my favorite, if like I can pick any food in the world to eat, it would be galbi. Like a really good like sogalbi or yangnyeom galbi. Both of them they're all really good. Any sort of galbi, but especially like sogalbi. It's really expensive, but if there's nothing like it, just like high quality Korean beef, and you eat little tiny pieces dipped in salt, you wrap it with vegetables and everything. Oh, it's wonderful. But I don't pick it as my favorite food because I'll only eat it like once or maybe twice a year at most. And it's really expensive, so I can't eat it very often. And yeah, it's just prohibitively expensive, so I can't say it's my favorite. And if I had galbi and the very next day someone said, what do you want to eat? I wouldn't pick galbi again, but I would be okay eating sundae again. So that's why I picked sundae. Evolving Brain. Hey, Evolving Brain. Are you going to Korea with your family or by yourself? Both. I travel there by myself for a few weeks first. And then the rest of my family comes, and that's how it works. So I'm there with my whole family most of the time. If you see me in Korea, my family's there as well with me. I saw you posted your one-to-one link the other day, but can you clarify what that should be used for? One-to-one teaching, specific questions, or those looking for help shaping their studying? It's pretty much for anything. I priced it so that people who really want to talk to me can use it, but that it's not low enough that I'm not able to actually do the make videos and do filming and editing like I need to. I would say for people who want general consulting on their Korean learning is going to be best. I do have a couple people who use it for regular tutoring, like just, hey, help me with my homework, help me go through this project, or help me go through the TOPIK test, and then they'll schedule something every single week for that. I do have a few people use it for that, but mainly I think people will use it to talk with me, kind of give me a rundown of where their studies are, what they're doing, give me their concerns, what they want to work on, and then I'll give my feedback for what I think they can do to improve, and then I never see them again because that's what they got. They just wanted their counseling. That's what I think it's fine for. So it's up to you. It's really pretty much anything, but it's not a traditional classroom in like, you're not going to like book the lesson and then sit there like listening to me talk for an hour unless you really want to do that. But if you're going to do that, I would just say hire someone who does that. Like you can get it much cheaper. But yeah, it's pretty much for whatever you want. I'll link that as well in the chat. For anyone interested, I do have tutoring hours. I repeat, I do not advertise this because I don't want like a million people to book me. It's really just for like serious inquiries, like people who really want like help with their Korean. They're like, I've been studying Korean for this many months or this many years, and this is where I've got to, this is where I want to go. I just want to know, what should I do? Or what about this? Or what's your opinion on this? Or maybe they have a bunch of questions. They're like really dying to know about something and they can't find answers anywhere. That sort of thing is good. But yeah, I haven't made any videos advertising it yet. Debbie, did you ask a question? Oh, Debbie asked, what time is it there? Okay, sorry. I thought I was missing like some important question that I felt bad about. And then I looked up, you're like, what time is it? I'm like, oh, it's 3:30 here. What time is it where you are? Answer my question. Answer it. I was considering using that resource for what sounds like you recommended for, but wanted to make sure that was cool. I'll never publicly mention it. I mean, it's fine. It's not like a secret. It's just, I just don't announce it because, like I said, it's not my main, the main use of my time is making videos, making courses, making books, live streaming, all this sort of stuff is the main use of my time. And the tutoring is something where if I ever started to get busy from tutoring, I would just increase the price until it goes back down because I don't have that much time to do it. That's the real reason, is I don't have that much free time to do tutoring. Cosma asks, is a Go Billy Gaming live coming soon? Shh. What would you guess Jeremy's level would be from my last video? Oh, Jeremy, yeah. Beginner. He's been learning since last year. I want to say last. Yeah, he'd been learning for quite a bit, for like over a year, I believe. But most of his learning was at Yonsei University, which is kind of known for not being the best at speaking Korean, from what I've heard. Like, I don't want to get it too far into it because I don't really want to like badmouth any university's associated Korean teaching program. But of the programs that I know of, I wouldn't recommend that one. But he was attending that one. He wasn't really able to get much speaking practice. But then he made a Korean girlfriend, which is great. But not only that, but a Korean girlfriend who also encourages him to speak in Korean, which is what you want. So he was able to learn quite a lot in a few months. But overall, his level is definitely beginner. I would say something like mid-beginner. Not a low beginner because he was able to start making sentences. But the speed that he made his sentences was very slow. And the amount of vocabulary he had access to was also very low. So I would say something around mid-beginner. However, he said since the video we filmed, he said he's gotten even much better because he says he's using way more Korean lately since we filmed that. That was actually just a few months ago. So I'm curious if we should do a sequel to that video. Maybe he'll have improved even a lot more, but we'll see. Hey, Evolving Brain! Evolving Brain, thank you. Evolving Brain. This goes toward these, oh, it's Sundae. Sorry, I just want to make sure you just spell it like that. Sundae. And let me give you some dabs and then I'll read your message. Let's get the Korean flag in here. Do the patriotic dabs. One nation, under dab, indivisible. Okay. So, Evolving Brain says, this goes toward the Sundae and Subway cookie fund. I actually got cookies yesterday, which is funny that you'd say that. Yeah. Have you ever tried Georgian food, as in the West Asian country? Yeah. I know the country Georgia, not the state Georgia. Georgian food, no, I have not. Do you know something about that kind of food? And if I would try that kind of food, like I didn't know it was a type of food, what is good? What should I try? So I'm here in LA. I have access to like everything. I'm sure there's a Georgian food restaurant somewhere here in LA. Yes, a sequel. Ayakata asks, have you gone to Korean McDonald's? Too many times. I don't go there often though, but you end up going to McDonald's very often in Korea because you'll really want a regular American hamburger when you're in Korea. You'll just feel like, oh, I need an American hamburger. So the best hamburger that you can get at any regular franchise, at any regular chain in Korea, period, is just McDonald's. It's sad, but it's true. McDonald's has the best actual, like, real hamburgers in Korea outside of a couple restaurants. Like, if you find some local restaurants, I found some, but other than that, they're not. Yeah, McDonald's is where I end up going to get hamburgers if I really want one. So I'll go there like maybe twice a month. It's probably accurate. And I'll just get a couple, like a burger and then burger fries and then go. I don't like McDonald's there very much. I don't think their food's very good. I think their breakfast is great. Like wonderful. If you get those McMorning breakfast meals, and they're good value. You get like pancakes, you get hash brown, you can make like a little sandwich with like the English muffins, and you get like a orange juice or something with it. They're really good. But the regular food they have there it's not that great, I think. You should try khachapuri. Khachapuri? What is that? Khachapuri. I'm going to search this. Okay, I have a picture. Khachap. What the heck is this? Georgian cheese bread. What is this? What is that? It's the unknown. What is this? Georgian cheese. This looks amazing. It's like it looks like pizza with an egg swimming in it. What? This looks really good. I would like this. I can tell already what it would taste like, and this would taste good because sometimes I'll make that with bread. You take like a piece of bread and you rip out the center, and then you put it in a frying pan with some butter, and you crack an egg in there. You toast it in the frying pan. You flip it over, so you make an egg over easy, and then you add ketchup on top and eat it, and that's really good. This kind of looks like that, like a fancy version of it. That looks really good. I've never seen that before. I can grill a real burger if I wanted. Yeah, you can make your own burger. You can buy the buns, you can buy the meat and everything like that, and you can make one yourself. And that's the restaurants I've had where they have actual like decent hamburgers. It's never a chain. It's always like someone's own random shop that they just wanted to open a restaurant and they set it up. And then they'll have like a burger. And then sometimes it'll be good. So other times if they make it like they don't know what they're doing, they saw a picture of a burger once and they wanted to copy it. Or they had In-N-Out in the States and they wanted to recreate it. Sometimes that happens and it's not that good. But if they like just legitimately try to make a good hamburger, there are some restaurants I know. There's one I know in Suwon, which is just fantastic. I go there every 2 weeks. I'm in Korea, and it's like my favorite burger in all of Korea. And I legitimately miss it when I'm in the US. It is that good and that unique. Hey, Evolving Brain. Evolving Brain. Thank you. Evolving Brain says, let me give you your dabs. No, let's not do patriotic dabs. Let's just do a dab party. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Evolving Brain says, regarding Georgian food, try khachapuri. Okay. Kali. What the heck is that? Khinkali. Kali. We open a tab for that. And then what was the other one? Chashushuli. Are you making these up? Are you trolling me? Are these real words? Chashushuli. Chashushuli. Chashushu. What is this? What is that? What is the... These look like dumplings. Beef dumplings? Okay. I mean, I like the, like that kind of dumpling. Beef ones are good. Are these like Chinese dumplings or are these... What is this? That actually looks really good. Okay, I would totally eat that. And then the charshishishiro, that thing. I have no idea what this is either. Spicy Georgian mushroom stew, it says. Okay, I like mushrooms. That's all these three things I see here. I would be totally fine trying. They look good. And I've never seen any even once in my life before. Oh, that looks really good. Like some beef tomato stew with like, or mushroom or something like that. Yeah, beef stew with tomato. Okay. That looks really good. I'll have to find a restaurant. I have to find a place. If there's a restaurant in LA, if anyone knows one, let me know. If not, I'll try to search for one. I don't know how far it'll be. So you say, can you explain the etymology and differences between 학교, 학원, and 학당? Okay, first of all, 학당 is one you're not going to use. It's used in names of schools, like 세종학당 is the only one that comes to mind. And I'm not even sure what they translate that in English. Sejong Institute? Yeah, Institute. So, 학당, okay, first of all, 학 is the Hanja for learning. Hak is learn. I believe it's also the same in Chinese. They like say shui or something like that. Anyway, yeah, hak is learning. Kuo is education or communication. This is the one for school. Hakdang is, tang is specifically like a hall is what it means. Like it's from shikdang is the same tang, and there's lots of tang words. So this one means like a learning hall. So it's more like a institute. It just has like a fancy feel for like a learning institute. But you're not going to use this one to say you attended school ever. You're going to use hakgyo for just regular school. Hagwon is the one in here, I believe, is it's the same one for like, it's just an area. I'm trying to think of the actual meaning of it because it's used like Chongwon, Hagwon, Gyeongwon. It's any of those like places, but I'm not exactly sure what the meaning of the hanja is. Let me just check real quick. Okay, yeah. It's just a place. So it really was the vague meaning that I have. So it's really just like a place of learning. Hagwon is specifically after school programs is what you'd refer to, or programs that are for learning, but they're not at your actual school. So they're not held at school or you're held at your college. This would be like a third party school, like a math tutoring academy. That's academy. But if you're attending like school, like high school, junior high school, elementary, college, all of that is hakgyo. That's the really brief version. I guess we could go over something more specifically if you want. I also have a hanja book if there's anything we're more curious about, but RB 2003 says, I went to Dankook University this summer studying, and it was the best time of my life. I'm applying for the EPIC program in February. Oh, nice. Dankook University. I've never gone there before. Never visited there. How was the university? You said you were there for the summer. I'm sure it was really hot. Although I know now the weather in Korea has cooled off a bit. 3. Let me give you 5 dabs. 2, 3, 4, 5. I have your tabs open for the Georgian food on my browser, so I'm just gonna leave them open. But yeah, if you're wondering which one do you say to talk about school, it's going to be hakgyo. Hakgyo is the one you want to use in every single case. Hagwon is specifically for like after school programs. Like, I mean, it's academy. We don't use the word academy too much in English, but it would be like if you go to taekwondo, if you go to art, piano, you're going to like a math program after school, anything like that. Those are all hagwon, not hakgyo. Oh yeah, you say, I'm Korean and hakdang sounds a bit old-fashioned. Yeah, because it's like saying institute. So it's a fancier version. I mean, it does mean school, but it's a fancier version of school. And the only thing I can think of that uses hakdang is 세종학당. But if there's probably other programs also with the name hakdang at the end. It's the same thing. The Institute of King Sejong. Debbie Che says, the HelloTalk app, they don't follow you back. That discourages me. Yeah, and it's not just HelloTalk, it's Tandem, it's every language exchange app and website. You just have to be persistent. You have to talk with a lot of people. You got to knock on a lot of doors, to get one person that's going to hang out with you. And it's not just about language exchange. It's because you're making a friend. You'll meet so many people in your life, but like how many of those do you actually form long-lasting friendships with? Very few. And as you get older, it's fewer and fewer. So it's the same thing with chatting apps. Just don't give up. Just realize that if the person doesn't reply, they have their own reasons, and just don't worry about it. It's normal. But don't let that discourage you, because remember that it does take a lot of attempts to find a friend. And eventually, if you do keep going, you will connect with some people. And of those people, even if a couple drop out, you still will be able to find some people that you can hang out with, some people that you match with. But it could be more difficult depending on who you are, depending on your interests, depending on, sadly, what you look like, where you're from. All of these things matter. But eventually you will find people who you can relate with and you can hang out with when you go to Korea. And it's the same for me as well. If I'm making friends on language exchange sites, I never tell them that I do YouTube, because it's instantly, I can make a friend instantly that way, but then they're not really gonna, like, are they really my friend, or they only want to be my friend because I'm a YouTuber and they want advice or they want something? So I don't tell them until after I've already, like, we've hung out for a bit or I've talked with them for a few weeks or whatever. Then I'll be like, oh, by the way, I'm also this. But yeah, it's a normal thing. I go through it as well. I met my friend on there in Korea. Awesome. She has a YouTube. That's cool. In several years ago, most Korean people, I think it's like most Korean people wanted to be a YouTuber. At least what I remember is it was the #1 most desired career for Koreans, especially for younger Koreans, was to be a YouTuber, which sounds ridiculous, but at that time it was kind of the belief, the general belief was, if you are a YouTuber, that, the famous YouTubers are making so much money. So I want to try to do that too. So I'm going to make my own YouTube channel and I'll make some money, even if I'm not rich. But the reality is, no, you'll make no money and you're going to like it, because most people make nothing. And then the ones that have a decent following will make some money. And then the ones that are gigantic, those ones make, millions of dollars, tons and tons of money. But unless you're one of those really gigantic, really big YouTubers, you're not going to be making that sort of money. And then people kind of realized, oh, I see. It doesn't really pay that much. But there was a time when I remember most people would say that their ideal job would be a YouTuber. So you'd be surprised. A lot of Koreans, probably have YouTube channels. Evolving Brain says, what's your thoughts on cosmetic surgery? Cosmetic surgery, I think it's fine. It's really common that Koreans do it. It's so common that someone who's famous in Korea not doing plastic surgery is more of a big deal than someone having done it. So, I mean, you can search like 성형 수술 사진 of celebrities. So that would be like the cosmetic surgery, and you can find photos of them before and after surgery. I think if they want to do it, it doesn't bother me. It's like getting a tattoo or anything. As long as they're doing it safely. Yeah, it's just a really common thing. And then there are some types of surgery that people will do that they don't even consider surgery, like getting double eyelid surgery is like really common. Getting skin treatment, which is like technically kind of like surgery, but it's so minor, no one would also think of that as surgery. There's just lots of little things that people do that they don't really think of it as a big deal because it's so common. But yeah, it's not really a big deal. It's just everyone does it. I haven't done cosmetic surgery. I mean, I know it's hard to believe, but yeah, it is really common in Korea. So if someone says that they've done it in Korea, it's like, okay, so you can just say, oh, interesting. Well, what did you do? Oh, can I see what you look like before or whatever? Like, it's just a thing they do in Korea. Let's see who was next. I met a Korean person my age. How would I talk to them really politely? A stranger, you'd still use honorifics. You still want to be polite until you become close with them. Honorifics don't mean that we aren't friends. It doesn't mean like I'm being extra polite and awkward with you. It just means I'm showing respect to you. I also met a girl in Korea. Now she's my girlfriend. Okay, well, there you go. Hey, Judy. Thank you, Judy. Judy A82. Thank you so much. And Judy says, I missed the entire lesson. I thought you were going to say thanks for the lesson. You're like, I missed the entire lesson. 2, 3, 4, 5. You can also watch the abridged version. Oh, yeah. If you are a member of this channel, you get to watch the abridged version of all of these live streams in advance. So tonight, you can watch this live stream cut short to just like probably 10, 15 minutes. It'll be cut down really short. And that's a special benefit for members. Everyone else can watch it on Wednesdays when it goes live, but members get to watch it tonight. Ad Astra! Wow, I saw a little red thing at the bottom. I was like, oh, it's probably just someone donating like $5 in a foreign currency. It's Ad Astra. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Let me give you dabs and then let me read your message. 50 dabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, my shoulder. 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait, how many did I do? Did I do 40 or 50? I think I did 50, but I lost count. I'll do 10 extra. 9, 10. Okay, now I really did 50 now. Okay. Ad Astra, better late than never. That is true. Thank you so much. Wow. Oh, my arms. I did 50. Okay, well, you get 60. Because I lost count because I did this really quick and my arm, I didn't pull it or anything, but it felt like strained. So I'm like, oh, I better not do that. Make sure I'm gentle on my arm. But doing that like messed up my count. Let's see. Kai says, some Korean learners recommend listening to a Korean story and pausing every sentence to mimic the sentence to get better at pronunciation or speaking. But others say it's a detriment. Who says it's a detriment? That is what's known as shadowing. So if you already know what shadowing is, the quick answer is it's very good and helpful, but it's not alone going to teach you the language. But yes, it's good. Shadowing is this. You listen to something in Korean by a native speaker, preferably a native speaker, preferably even the same gender as you, or more specifically, the way that you want to speak. So if you are someone who wants to sound like a certain gender, that's totally fine, but it needs to be someone you actually want to sound like. So if I don't want to sound like that person, guy or girl, whatever, find someone I kind of am okay sounding like. So you pick someone you kind of like the way they sound, you listen to a sentence they say, you pause it, and you try to repeat exactly what they said in the exact same way that they said it as much as possible. Now, you actually do shadowing whether you realize it or not, just through regular Korean listening. When teacher says, hey, repeat after me, and they say a sentence and you follow along. When you listen to an audio file and you're trying to understand something and then you repeat a part of it back to yourself in your head, and you don't really think about that as shadowing, but that's all part of shadowing. When you learn a Korean song and you try to mimic the way that the singer sings it, that is shadowing too. So you get shadowing a lot of different ways, whether you like it or not. But that specifically is called shadowing. It's like when you intentionally do that. And yeah, it's helpful. It helps you with it helps you with everything pretty much. You learn how to pronounce words, you learn intonation, you learn like pacing of how to say things, natural pronunciation, like not the actual pronunciation, but like how people actually will say something. And then you learn like the overall tone of that person that you're imitating. And you can use that to learn like vocab words and grammar. You can like, what's the word? You can internalize grammar forms that you might know, but now you're saying it in that sentence. It's kind of like you're saying the sentence, even though you didn't make it. Your brain kind of takes it in like that was a practice sentence that you made. Now, you can't learn a language by only doing this, at least not as a non-native speaker, unless you're like a child. Children learn just by listening and repeating, but when you're an adult, it doesn't quite work that way. But it is still very helpful. So I recommend doing it if you can. I didn't do it very much. I didn't do this intentionally, but I still did it a lot just through my regular Korean studies. Talking with someone, and then I would say something wrong, and they would say, "Oh, did you mean to say da-da-da-da?" And I would be like, "Yes, I meant to say da-da-da-da," like that. And I would repeat exactly what they said, just without that question intonation. That is shadowing too. But I haven't met anyone who says shadowing is bad. Like, I haven't heard any of that take. Like, don't do shadowing. It actually, it's detrimental to your Korean, or it messes this up. No, I haven't heard any teachers anyway. I don't know if there's some YouTuber out there saying that, but no, I haven't heard any teachers say it's not useful. Everyone I know says, yeah, it's fine. It's good. Evolving Brain said, do you have side hustles outside of teaching Korean? I'm not making any money with anything else. Not at the moment. That would be nice. Let's see. Do I have any other things I make money off of? I mean, if you count tutoring, but that's Korean. I used to do computer repair a long time ago, and I did some translation before, which I would get paid for occasionally. No, not really. Not right now. Nothing that I can say I'm making money off of, but who knows? I probably should get something. 의사소통 doesn't have to do with the doctor. No, that is communication. That explains why people look at me funny from shadowing. Yeah, it matters who you shadow, because that's the person you're going to end up sounding like. Nasteria says it's almost impossible to not shadow when you hear Korean pronunciation. Yeah, you are shadowing all the time when you're learning Korean. When I say a sentence, you're shadowing me, even though you shouldn't be necessarily shadowing from a non-native speaker. You want to shadow from someone who speaks the way that you want to speak. That's why. And no matter how good my Korean is, no matter how close it could be to native, there's native level is still going to be a little bit higher because I wasn't born in Korea as a Korean. That's just a fact. So I always recommend just find a native Korean speaker on YouTube who speaks the way that you would like to imitate, even if you don't want to talk exactly like them, but you kind of like the way they talk. Yeah, do that. And I've done that just through my natural studies. And I end up changing slightly the way that I speak in Korean to match other people that I want to sound more like. What about your t-shirts? You're making money with those. Oh, I have merchandise. Yes, let me share that. Merch. Yeah, I do have merchandise. I also never advertise it anymore. I used to promote it here sometime. I have t-shirts and stuff. I do make I think I'll make like $20 in sales a year from merchandise, but it's something. And yeah, sometimes people do buy my merch and wear it and show me like, hey, Billy, I got your shirt, or I got your sweater, or I got your bag, like that. I do have some merchandise. Oh, yes. Yes, Kai, thank you so much. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for Kai's top of the hour donation. I still have space, so I'm going to just keep writing them down here. And when I run out of space, I might have to get a little more creative. But I'm still good for now. And I'm not going to do much more streaming. I definitely need to finish within the next 30 minutes max, because I need to edit the video that we just did live stream today. Thank you so much, Kai. Let me give you some quick dabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Thank you so much, Kai, for your top of the hour donation. Kai says to Judy, you can always count on me at the top of the hour. Nice. But I don't know if I'd consider the t-shirts like a side hustle, because it's really just all part of this channel. The same way like my Patreon isn't really a side hustle or anything. I'm not against having another job, but it needs to be something that doesn't take away my time to do this channel. So that's why I don't even do very much tutoring, just because I want to make sure I always have availability to make my lessons. These lessons take so much time. Now, this lesson I did took about 3 hours to prepare, 3 or 4 hours to prepare. So the live streams don't take that much time to prepare. But then today, my entire day today is spent setting up the room, preparing for the live stream, doing the live stream, editing the live stream and uploading it, posting about it. And then my regular days are just spent editing, working on videos. I'm actually making 3 new videos right now as we speak. And then I have another special project coming up. And then I have another K-pop group analysis video I'm going to be doing right after that. And then I have a whole new series that I'm working on. So that's like a quick preview of what I'm working on right now. But yeah, it takes up all of my time. So if I were to have another job, it would have to be something that's not full-time, not even like part-time, but just an occasionally when I feel like it time. Debbie says, you can answer my question. What question? A new series, yes. But like I said, I'm not going to announce that stuff exactly what it is, though I probably will announce what it is to people who are members and Patreon members in advance. You'll probably find out what it is in advance. But everyone else, just you can know that there's something I'm working on. Okay, any other last questions? There's still like 90 of you hanging out here. But like you're not answering questions. You just want to hear me talk? Is that it? Is that what it is? Yes, make sure to get the worksheet. I've said this now many times. There's a worksheet for this lesson. Also get the outline will be up. The outline will be up there as soon as this live stream's over. So it's not there right now, but it'll be up there. And if you are a live stream, the Patreon member for at least $1, you'll get all of these live stream stuff. Worksheets, outlines, all this stuff for just $1. Or you can pay more if you want, but it's accessible for everyone who does at least $1. Do you mean the beginner course or the live stream? Oh, I guess you're talking to someone else. Keith asks, do you ever spend time in the local Korean community? In the local Korean community? No. I had once tried to join the local Korean language community. There was one that I found. But I seem to remember I couldn't find much information about when they were meeting. And then I kind of also felt bad about crashing their meeting. Because I'm like, why would I go there just to speak Korean and show off? Like, people legitimately go there to practice their Korean. And the Koreans go there to, practice their English. So I'm like, I don't really know what would be the point. So I didn't join that. But there isn't really anything else. There isn't like a real, like a local Korean community activities that go on. Besides like visiting the Korean marketplace, like that's a normal thing I'll do. There's several Korean markets around me. That's pretty much it. Not really though. When did you learn Korean? Which year? 2005. Hello, Billy. I'm from Brazil, and some time ago I decided to learn a third language. After some searching, I decided to pick up Korean. I'd like to thank you because your videos are helping me so much. Oh, thanks. I'm glad. In case you didn't already find them, I recommend my beginner course. It's 100 episodes. It's completely free, and it'll get you started completely from the very beginning all the way up to a basic conversational level. And after you finish that, I have a conversation course you can go right on to, which has 20 lessons. So that should take you all the way to like a completely conversational level, assuming you follow all of it and practice along the way. Cosma says, I saw a sentence similar to 평생 여자친구 만날 수나 있겠어. So you're sure it's na. The na is for... I've done a lesson about na. There's actually several of them. There's different meanings for them. You can think of it as like at least or something, but it doesn't have a strong literal translation in English. But I haven't done a separate live stream about that specific usage because there's a na that you use for like when you're talking about like or something. There's another na that's used for but. There's another na Well, there's na, ya, and there's na. There's another na that's used for like questions. There's another na that's used for counting values when it's not exact. There's another na that's used in the same way as nya. There's another na that's used if you're talking about ji, like whether something is, or like, I shouldn't even say whether, I should say like dun, because it's pretty much equivalent to like dun, like dunji. That sort of dunji. And then there's another na, there's that na you're asking about, which is gonna be this one, I believe. Like, what, or something like that. But literally, the suna would be like, is there even like an ability to do something? Like, could you even do that? Could you even like do that or do something like that? But it doesn't have a strong literal, it doesn't have a strong meaning in English. Like, you don't really need to translate it in English. It's just a different nuance to the sentence. I've done live streams about most of those. I don't think I've done live streams about all of them though, because it's just at that point, it's like splitting hairs. Like, I would rather focus on the topic where I teach na as part of it instead of make a whole live stream about one specific usage of na, if that makes sense, but who knows? Blitz says, I'm just kind of taking this in. This is the first time I've been able to make a live stream. Yeah, normally we just kind of talk and hang out for the first like 20 minutes or so of the live stream. And then I teach the class in like an hour to an hour and a half. And then I just ramble about anything else that people ask for another hour or hour and a half after that. And that's the phase we're in right now. So for everyone who's still hanging around. Suzanne Lopez, or Lopes, Lopez, I don't know. You say, I can practice my English and my Korean. I'm so lucky. Now I'm practicing my English listening. That's nice. Rich says, I'm in the 11th episode. Nice, nice. Yeah, the 11th is pretty, it's like the eye of the storm. It's really calm. And then you'll get to the conjugation. But then after that, I think once you've learned conjugation and basic stuff, it's pretty decent, pretty easy steps. Just don't rush through the course. I'll say that. Unless you're just trying to find where your level is and you've already learned a lot, then you can rush and you just want to get to where you don't know things anymore. But if you're doing it for your first time, I would say go through them slowly, especially once you get up to lesson 20. Go slowly through the lessons once you hit 20. You can like rush the alphabet because that's pretty easy. But after that, go a little slowly. And then once you get beyond 20, don't do more than like one lesson every day at most. And then as you go up further, I would say no more than one lesson every like 2 days or 3 days. You just want to make sure you have plenty of time to absorb everything. How many languages do you speak? 1. I speak English and I speak Korean. So I guess 2. That's what I would really claim to speak. Like I can actually say I can talk fine. I do know 6 languages, but not that I don't tell people, I don't go around saying I speak 6 languages because I don't. I just have learned 6 languages before, but I actually speak just 2. Katarina says, any future project? Oh, no special collab videos coming up. But you can ask them, but I don't have anything. I recorded myself practicing saying some of the example sentences back when I started months ago, and it made me feel so much better because I've come a long way with the little I do know. I have a little audio recorder that I used to do that too with I didn't do it with my Korean, but I did it with my Japanese when I was first learning that. And I would record myself reading sentences from the book in Japanese when I was first learning. And I would say it as best as I could. And then I would go back and I'd listen to it again after like a few months or a year. And I'd be like, oh, I've gotten much better since then. It's a great way to motivate yourself because you don't know otherwise how are you improving until you can hear yourself. And now every single time I do video calls with my friends, I do like a weekly video call with my friends twice a week. And I record myself. They know I'm recording myself. I record myself talking so I can go back and watch any of those. And this is for my Korean practice I do. I can watch any of those from back in 2016 when I first started. I have every single one recorded. So I have hundreds of these. Each one is like over an hour. Sometimes they're like an hour and a half. and I can go back and hear myself talking from 2016, 2017, 18, 19, 20, all that. And I can clearly hear, even though I thought I sounded good in 2016, I'm like, oh, I'm way better here. And then, oh, this is way better here and way better like that. So I can feel myself getting better, even though I'm doing the exact same things. And I wouldn't notice otherwise. I would think, oh, my Korean's stagnating. But no, if I go back and listen, I can clearly hear that I'm improving. Like, oh, this one, my intonation's much clearer. Or this one, my vocabulary usage is much more, fluid or whatever. Sorry, I hope I didn't offend you asking for collabs with them. No, of course not. I do collabs with anyone that wants to collab with me. So if someone wants to collab with me, I will collab with them. That's pretty much my rule. And if I think they're a useful channel that for Korean, or we relate in some way for learning Korean, then I'm fine with it. Yeah. So if there's a YouTuber out there who wants to do collab with me, and you're related to Korean stuff, and you're like actively actually doing Korean stuff, then yeah, contact me. We could do a collab. And if I don't do a collab with some specific other YouTuber, like if a YouTuber doesn't contact me or I don't contact them or whatever, we just haven't contacted. And this year I did some new collabs as well. Wes said, did you ever try Rosetta Stone when you first started learning? No, because they're way too expensive. I never wanted to use it. And I heard people say they didn't like it. So I've never used it, but I never used it because of the reviews I read. So I can't really speak anything about it specifically because I don't know anything about it. I just know it's really expensive. And I think you don't need to spend very much money to learn Korean. As far as materials wise. Now you might end up spending a lot of money on tutoring or donations. Kai could have probably bought Rosetta Stone like 5 times over, but you're gonna end up spending money, but it's not necessarily going to be on your materials. You can get by learning Korean for free with free materials or very little money, like maybe 20, 30 bucks for a book or so. But the way you're going to end up spending a lot of money in Korean is when you buy your plane ticket to Korea. So that's where you should save your money for. You included some of those recordings in a video of yours, I think. Yes, I did. I did a video collab. That was also with Talk to Me in Korean. And we did a video collab where I went through my old recordings. I randomly went through my folders and downloaded a few of the clips that I had saved on my server. So I didn't check them beforehand. I threw them into an editor and I'm like, let me see where I'm talking and chop off a block of where I'm talking, play the first second to make sure it's not something like random, make sure it's like some actual thing I'm talking about, and then save it and didn't watch it. And then I assembled those clips to watch during the video. So that's the technical way that it worked. So that way I could truly react to them for the first time, but without having to insert something that was like the random part of a different conversation that didn't make any sense. And since then I've also improved. So that video was now also a couple of years ago. And now if I listen to my Korean speaking, yeah, I can hear I've improved quite a bit. Mike E says, my humble advice, and I'm going to agree with you. You say, don't switch from program to program to program looking for the perfect one. I totally agree with you. There is no such thing as a perfect program for learning Korean. And I'm saying that despite having a Korean program myself, books and my free curriculum, there is no such thing as perfect. Like there's that idiom, right? Like don't let perfect is the enemy of good or something like that, right? Just because the program's not perfect, there is no perfect program, but just because it's not perfect don't let that stop you from it still being valuable. Now, that doesn't mean go out and find like the most garbage level lessons and learn from that. Try to find quality stuff, but don't be too concerned over like, which one's better, this one or this one, because someone will prefer this, someone will prefer this for a different reason. Or maybe there's this program which doesn't explain things too clearly, but makes it really fun. Or they have this and you really connect with that. Use it. And don't keep switching around trying to find the perfect one because it doesn't really matter that much. Use it, When you get tired of it or you feel like you're not getting anywhere with it, then you can switch. If you don't like it or if you feel it's not helping, then you switch. But don't just switch because you're not sure which one you should be using. Just pick one and go with it. And then if you're okay with it, just finish it and then you can move on to something else. Try many things, but don't keep switching around because everyone will teach in a different order and you're not really gonna get very far if you only do like a little bit of this and a little bit of this. You're only going to be at that beginner level forever if you do that. You have to follow it somewhere to move up a step. Wes says, it is pricey and completely immersive. Well, that's good at least. I got it a decade ago and initially I enjoyed it, but there are many better options out there, including your own. A Plumber Man says, I think I paid a lifetime for all the languages. It's good practice, but I found it very lacking for beginners with no knowledge or grammar. I feel like the more languages a program teaches, the lower quality it could be because the company is not going to be, they're not going to have their hands as close in each of the languages. So the company could have like some languages that are just great because the teachers are great. And then other languages that aren't because they don't know how to pick the right teacher for that because they themselves don't know that language, whoever's managing that. So I think it's, yeah, I don't know. It's not for me. It's not what I would use, but I'm not going to like trash it because I've never used it myself. But if I've used it myself, then I wouldn't hold back. If I paid for it and I didn't like it, then I would let you know, but I've never used it. Kai says, I was working on my monthly budget and realized how big a part of these live streams were factors in it, but I'd rather support you in this channel. I do really appreciate it. Yeah, everyone who has ever donated, you can see the actual donation dollars on screen a little bit during the live streams. You don't see it, but I have, hold on. Maybe I can just show you. Okay, over here I have, I've never shown this before. I'll show it to you for the very first time. So over here I have a light. This light, $700, no joke. The light stand it's on, $150, no joke. I'm not exaggerating these prices. They don't include tax. I have there's a connector to connect the, well, maybe I can show it to you. Connect the camera to my computer is like $50. I have, let's see, on this side, okay, I have a bunch of equipment. I have decorations I use for my background. Another light, same thing. Behind there are two of these lights. These are each 600. And then the two more over here on the other side. You can kind of see them. The backdrop. Let's see if I can move here. Okay, let me lock that back again. The backdrop here, you can see I have a set of, there's actually three. I have a white one, a green one, and a black one that I use for Korean FAQ videos. Those were each about $80. The backdrop was another $150, and 2 days of installation. My computer, all this stuff. I'm not doing this as like a flex or anything at all. I wish I were. It's not a flex. It's to say I couldn't pay for this. I don't have that much money. As well as if I show you, I mean, this tablet obviously is garbage, but maybe you can see the reflection. No, you can't see the reflection. The camera, it's going through. The tripod it's on is $800 tripod, and I can't use, like, I can't do this. I literally cannot do this channel without your support. And I'm not doing, like I said, it's not a flex. These are not expensive. If anyone does media production out there, you'll hear these prices I'm saying, and you're going to think, oh, Billy just uses the prosumer stuff. Yeah, I don't use any like professional grade equipment. It's all like consumer grade, like, I think my kid's singing. It's all like regular grade equipment. So I use good stuff, but it's not like the top of the shelf, you know, professional Hollywood stuff. It's just what I can get by with to do this channel. And yeah, it's all thanks to you. Like a day like today, I got like $130 in donations. All of it goes straight into my, the room. It goes straight into filming videos and other equipment. Sometimes I have to replace equipment because it breaks. This microphone was, I think it was a $200 microphone. Yeah. So yeah, just letting you know. This is kind of the stuff I don't normally show you. Okay. That's enough for today. Everyone, thank you for coming, and I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.